Guess what day it is? Huh? Hump Day?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. We're at 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. It is a happy hump day. Brooke Grimsley, Danny Mack, Matthew Rocchio, Randy Carricker. Good morning, kids. How are we doing?
Good morning, everybody.
It's raining. It's cloudy.
It's very cloudy.
Rained out last night. No Cardinal baseball to talk about, but 2 games to talk about tomorrow morning, and we'll preview them today. Maybe we'll even do a lineup game today. We have an extra hour. The guy who was supposed to do the show quit on doing the show, so we got an extra hour today. We're going till 11 o'clock. So, I'm just saying it. Josh was supposed to do the show. Now he's not going to do the show. So, what else? As Jack would have said, whoa. What's wrong about that?
Fact's a fact, right? I mean, yeah, good to see you guys.
Good morning, Dan.
Happy hump day, man.
Yeah, we're firing this Wednesday.
Jump right into it, Randall.
Well, I ain't lying.
No, just jump right into it. So we will be here till 11.
Yes, we will.
All right.
Looking forward to a full day of broadcasting. And, of course, you've got BK and Ferrario on during the first game of the Cardinal doubleheader after they were rained out last night. Cardinals will play at 12:45 today. And Kyle Gibson will start the opener against Reynaldo Lopez. And then a 6:15 night game. And I have to believe that it'll be Andre Palante. He was scheduled to start the game, right, tonight anyway. I'm going, by the way, to the night game.
If it happens, the weather's kind of concerning me a little bit today because I was looking at my trusty weather app because we are second alert weather, not first. So kind of takes us a little bit to get going here. And I'm seeing a lot of rain in our forecast, Randy.
Dan, Dan's got the best weather app. Are you looking at your weather app?
Let me call it up.
Okay.
Is it the Weather Channel app?
Well, it says that no, it's not. It says rain is starting in 21 minutes, and then the radar I'm looking at goes the green, which is the clouds, and the rain goes all the way back to Columbia. So, but then after that, it opens up, and they need to get these games in because it's the only time the Braves are in town, and this is
Except for the playoffs.
That's right, and this is the only time that you get the Braves, and so it makes it tough when you have this kind of unbalanced schedule to get all these games in. You have to make sure that you get these games in, and if you don't, then you have problems later in the season. And they've already got a couple of doubleheaders that they need to fill out before the season is through. So they'll get them in. I guarantee it.
And there's a 70% chance of no rain in the 1 o'clock hour. So just let's go a little positive here. Let's think about it from that perspective. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that. Sorry.
Without warning. You gotta give me a heads up. You're about to play the third most played song in the world.
Okay, 12:45.
It's very quick.
Day game, 6:15 night game, and the Braves are really, really good. Yeah, they lose Spencer Strider, who's their best pitcher, Cy Young Award guy. They lose Ronald Acuna, who was the MVP last year, and they're still 11 games over 500. They're still 8-2 in their last 10. They're still playing well. Why is it that they are so good?
Well, which one's going to take it here? Go right ahead. I thought you were going to jump right.
Well, I was going to say because they have a lot of talent. Maybe that is the big thing. They have a lot of depth, obviously, where they're able to work through it. Just another note, by the way, we will not see Chris Sale in this series.
Right.
I know that so many Cardinals fans were looking forward to this.
Correct.
They moved Chris Sale to Thursday because of everything with the scheduling. So we will not see Chris Sale.
I just to answer your question, Randy, I mean, they have depth, as Brooke mentioned, but they are talented, and I think there's something to the fact that they've locked these guys up and the core stays in place. I think that's a big factor.
Okay, I don't know if I've ever given you this theory that I have. We always talk about being players swinging for the fences. We talked about yesterday, playing small ball and being willing to play small ball. If you already have your contract, and they signed Austin Riley for 11 years, and they've got Ozzie Albies tied up long-term, and they've got Matt Olson tied up long-term, and they've got both catchers, Darno and Sean Murphy, signed up long-term, and Acuna and Michael Harris II. When you have that many players that already have the contract and don't need to hit a home run, do you think it prompts them to play more winning baseball?
I would think so. You got to have the right manager, though.
Yep, you do. And he's great. Snicker's great.
Yeah, he seems to have great relationships with his players. He'll play a little small ball if needed. I love the fact that he keeps his lineup intact basically every single day. He's going to roll out the same lineup, and you'll see that again. Well, maybe not today because of the doubleheader, but you'll see it more times than not. But I've thought about that. I've also thought about, as we were talking about yesterday, what if you, just for fun, just throw it out there, what if you said to your draft guy, I want all slap hitters, I want the fastest guy, I don't care who it is, just give me the fastest guy, we'll teach him baseball once he gets in here, and we'll do a complete draft on that, or a complete draft on power right-handed pitchers, because we're going to land one of them. You got to think that one of them is going to emerge, or go all power lefties. I just to have fun with the draft and do something different.
That's the way the old football Cardinals would work it. One year they drafted 3 cornerbacks in the first 4 rounds. Another year they drafted Louis Sharp with a first rounder, and I think Tootie Robbins in the 3rd. That's really not a bad way to go because your hit rate is minimal, right? You aren't going to hit on all of your picks. So why not have a draft where you really concentrate on getting a bunch of speed into your organization?
And I think some teams look at their deficiencies in their potential everyday lineup moving forward with minor league players, and then they draft to a need. But I think a lot of times, though, teams just say, take the best player available. And I see both ways to do it. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes you draft to needs, but here's the thing. Your GM better be under contract, too, and have a pretty good relationship with the owner, because there's a limit. I mean, it's a small window, man, for a lot of these guys to show what they can do.
Right. Unless you're the Dodgers. And we wondered when Mookie Betts got hurt, who are they going to lead off? Shohei Ohtani has led off 9 times for the Dodgers since Mookie Betts got hurt. In that time, Shohei Ohtani has a .371 batting average, a .477 on base, an .886 slug for a 1.363 OPS. He was already the MVP before Mookie Betts got hurt. He's probably even more solid as the MVP now. I was thinking about this last night, and they beat the White Sox. The Dodgers did 4-3. I think Shohei Ohtani might actually be underrated.
Underrated? You think he's underrated?
Those numbers are outrageous.
No, they are.
He's far and away the best guy, and he's not even pitching.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that he will be pitching soon. And he's just focusing on hitting this year. Yeah. But I think he's a unicorn. I don't know if he's completely under the radar necessarily. I feel like a lot of people know, obviously, who he is. But maybe do you just feel like he's not getting the recognition fully for what he's doing right now?
When we talk about, we had a conversation the other day about best player in baseball. And this is, I think, without pitching, Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball.
He is so overrated. Are you kidding me? He is. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. No, he is underrated in what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And here's the other thing, the financial aspect of what he's bringing to the Dodgers. They signed another major sponsorship with he and Yamamoto, and they've been able to go over to Japan and get some of these major sponsors to come to the United States, be a part of the Dodgers. He's going to wind up paying for that $700 million.
Yeah.
It's going to work where they're going to make money off of him. And the fact he's only making $2 million this year, man, it's underrated to a T. I mean, you can't find another player like this and being able to move him in the lineup. If you moved him to cleanup or you moved him to third in the lineup, he's mashing. You put him at the top of the lineup, he's going to mash. And next year he's going to pitch. It's just incredible.
He leads the National League in batting average now at .320, leads in home runs with 24. He has a 3 home run lead over Marcell Ozuna, and he's 4th in RBIs. He's 4 RBIs away right now from being, on June 26th, the Triple Crown leader in the National League.
So we got a text in, and I'll leave out part of it, but basically, do you believe that Major League Baseball is not doing enough to promote him?
I would say that they are. Now, is he's got the New Balance spot. He shows up on subway spots like every famous athlete does. But I think Rob Manfred should make it a point to make sure that all of baseball understands that this is the face of the sport, and every single baseball promotional vehicle in some way, shape, or form should have Shohei Ohtani in it.
And when are you ever going to get a player like this again?
Never.
It happens once every 100 years, and he's the one guy that's taken. I mean, you had Babe Ruth, a guy like Ricky Ankiel was incredible what he did, but this is a level that no one has ever seen. He's an MVP. if I'm Major League Baseball and I'm Rob Manfred, I'm going to the Dodgers and saying, look, I don't know who's got the best relationship with this guy, but I need to be in a room with him to talk about the importance of what he means to our sport, and we need to profile him on everything we possibly can. Like, here's the thing. Do we really know anything about him? Not really.
No.
I mean, and I know some guys are really guarded with their personal life, and that's up to them. But in terms of knowing anything about him, couldn't tell you the first thing. I just know he can hit, I know he can pitch, and I know he's probably the best player in the game.
And he has a wife that he randomly popped up with because remember, he said, I married a normal Japanese girl, and she's a basketball player over in Japan, and he has a dog named Decoy. But I agree with you. I think that they should promote him more. I'm just curious because of how big that whole betting scandal was with his interpreter, if maybe he wanted to kind of push back or like fall back a little bit until the dust fully clears from that situation.
But I think even just from a baseball realm, if you set it up with a Hard Knocks type of situation,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, right.
Oh wow,
and you don't have to find out. You don't have to show his wife, but what's he like around the ballpark with his teammates? What is a typical day like? I think I would be intrigued by that. I would watch it.
I would watch it. I would watch any Hard Knocks type thing on baseball. I know they did that with the Red Sox in spring training. It hasn't come out, at least to my knowledge. If it comes out or when it comes out, I'm going to watch it. But if I can see the best player, like I watched the one last year with the Jets, and whether you like him or not, Aaron Rodgers was interesting to watch.
Compelling TV, right? Good content.
It just was. And if you can get the best player in the game to open up a little bit, sit him down, talk about his day, and then follow him, that's going to be amazing. Now, I'll go to golf. I mean, look at Rory McIlroy, what he did at the U.S. Open. One of the lasting shots that I can take away from that is as he's walking to his courtesy car, the Netflix cameras are following him. So he gave total access. This is total access. It wasn't like, hey, don't grab this and this is my personal time and all that stuff. No, they followed him. I want to see that. I want to see behind the scenes. And it's not just being on commercials. I mean, that's one thing to see. Right. I want to know more about the individual. Like, how did he learn to be a pitcher? How did he learn to be this great hitter? Who are his heroes growing up? Who does he like to watch now? Things like that, I think, are interesting for fans to know.
His routine.
Dan,
I always think that's intriguing.
Check out the internet billboard for the All-Star voting on MLB.com.
I do not see. Oh, I do see Ohtani 1, 2, 3. I think that's him. No, that's Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
See, that's, to me,
I don't even see him.
Ohtani towers above everybody else. You say, okay, vote for the All-Star game and have Ohtani towering above everybody else, and then all the other guys, right?
How's he? Yes. How's he not on that?
You've got Corey Seager front and center. The Dodger that you have is Mookie Betts. I don't know. And that's what I'm talking about. If you're Rob Manfred, you call somebody today when you hop on your internet, if you're Manfred, and you say, holy smokes, I don't have Ohtani front and center in the middle of my all-star voting promo. Not only should he be there, but it should be kind of like a bunch of guys standing under the arch, and Ohtani is the arch.
Would you put him on national TV and max out all the national TV games that you can have? 100%.
100%. And
yes,
he is your focus in the All-Star game. Okay, you got the All-Star game, you got all these All-Stars. But if I'm televising, if I'm Fox, he's the centerpiece because not only do I want him to be the centerpiece, but I want all these, especially young people, to see this guy play.
Now that you've shown me that, because I guess in my mind, I know Shohei Ohtani, right? I think that he is obviously a very, very talented player. I call him a unicorn. Everybody calls him a unicorn because of everything that he's doing. But then when you see that, you're like, wait a minute, they really aren't promoting him that much. So you're 100% right. It's very underrated in the way that they're covering him. I'd be curious. I know that his inner circle, I'm sure, has gotten a lot tighter since that situation with his interpreter. I would wish and hope that maybe somebody in his inner circle would help him get a little bit more comfortable with speaking to media members because there is a little bit of a give and take here. I will say that. I'm a huge Shohei Ohtani fan. He's very talented in everything that he does. But I wonder, just based off of things, I don't think he likes to do a lot of media availabilities. Just talking to him about, there's a little bit of a give and take here. You don't have to do media all the time. You don't have to stand by your locker after every single game.
Right.
You still maybe have to be a little bit more comfortable with that because I know that a lot of people would love to get to know him, as you guys were talking about. Just getting him more comfortable with talking to media members and the public.
And that's your responsibility.
Right.
That to me is a response. You're right. It's a give and take, Brooke, and it's his responsibility. You're making $700 million. There's a responsibility to talk.
And all you have to do, you have one camera, one person asking questions, and it can be somebody from from Japan that asks the questions with, I presume, a new interpreter, but have him sitting on the couch in the Dodgers clubhouse with Decoy. So give him a little comfort level with his puppy there so he can pet Decoy. And it's got to be, it doesn't have to be, but it can be literally 5 minutes.
Does it matter that he's on commercials? And I mean that sincerely.
Yes, I think so. And here's the thing. I think it was Stephen A. last year said that he couldn't be the face of baseball because he doesn't speak English, right? Well, and he does speak okay English, just not on camera, on electric media. He talked to people that have covered games with him. He can speak English, but my point with him would be, look at the New Balance commercial. I don't know if he says anything or not, but look at all the commercials that Serena Williams has been in where she doesn't say a word. You don't need to talk.
Roger
right?
Federer.
Yeah, there you go.
Same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So just to be literally a face.
Yeah, just some media training and getting him more comfortable. I understand that, especially in Japan, the media coverage, it's big here, but in Japan, it's next level, and they really don't give you a lot of privacy. I don't know how to directly describe that, but just talking to a lot of players who have played in Japan, it is. They really want to know every single detail, and there's not here, I know that we have paparazzi as well, but there's a little bit of a barrier. There in Japan, like, they will kind of take it to the next level, how much digging they'll do, sitting in front of your house. So I can understand maybe being a little bit guarded in that regard, but you're right. He's the face of Major League Baseball, and him getting a little bit more comfortable with the media will only benefit him.
And right now, as he's not presumably comfortable, if you're MLB, if you're the Dodgers, if you're him, control the narrative. Like I said, one camera, nobody else in the clubhouse, and let's learn something about him. Like you said, Dan, it can be surface stuff. We just want to learn something about the guy. Just do a little 5-minute piece, put it on TV, put it on the internet, and put it on your MLB app, just so that we can, there's Shohei Ohtani's face. Everybody will want to go see that.
618 says, I'm okay with the give and take, and I agree with increased access, but he doesn't have to be the ambassador to baseball.
That's what we're saying.
No.
He doesn't have to be the ambassador. He just has to be a little bit more of a not likable. He needs to be more of a face of what you see of the game.
Literally a face. We've got enough ambassadors. Bryce Harper's a great ambassador for baseball. Mookie Betts is Freddie Freeman. The Dodgers have plenty of other guys that can be ambassadors for baseball, but he's your most famous. He's your best guy again. As a leadoff hitter, 371 batting average, 477 on base, 886 slug, 1.363. Literally be the face. And I'm good with that.
Yeah.
It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN, and it is hump day, and that means it's Ask Uncle Randy Day. If you have a question for Uncle Randy, all you need to do is text in 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Ask Uncle Randy coming up on 101 ESPN.
Got a question for Uncle Randy? Let him dive into his infinite well filled with wisdom to find you answers. Text 314-399-9646. It's Ask Uncle Randy on on 101 ESPN.
I've been around, you know.
It's time for Ask Uncle Randy, and Matthew's already chuckling. I don't know why, but we've got texts in for Ask Uncle Randy on a rainy hump day in St. Louis. Brooke, Dan, Matthew, Randy. Matthew, what do you got for us?
Bless you.
Well,
Thank you.
I'm laughing because Dan McLaughlin is such a avatar, a conduit, if you will, to the audience, because the second Ask Uncle Randy we got in was not a serious one. And I had to laugh because it was, Dear Uncle Randy, I wake up at 4 a.m. for work. My wife insists on staying up late watching 50 Shades of Grey last night. Can I give her a curfew for the TV?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Much like Danny, they refuse to forget 10 p.m. guy.
Yeah, they do, which is absolutely fine. No curfew for the bride. If she wants to stay up till 4 a.m. watching 50 Shades of Grey.
Might be worth you staying up with her to watch
I would
50
say
Shades
so.
of Grey.
Or read the book or, hop online.
It's not like you're watching Major League.
You are a wise man, Danny.
Yeah.
Playing chess, not checkers.
I like that she is. And you know what? If you have to get up at 4 a.m., she's not staying up till 4 a.m. till he's getting up, is she? She's just staying up.
He wakes up at 4 a.m.
Okay, that's fine.
She stays up very late.
If you're going to be up and your hours are abnormal, but she's living normal hours, don't worry about it. It's cool.
We've
It's
gotten
been quality
At
time.
least she's under the same roof.
Yeah, right. She's not out with her friends.
We've gotten a joke text where somebody has used that rubric from that guy and sent this into us. Every single Ask Uncle Randy sends that one. Every single time we get at least one, if not multiple ones, I bet we'll get another one. Okay, good. Uncle Randy, quick question. Why is Kittredge wearing Rollins number 27? Shouldn't that be off limits now that he's in the Hall of Fame? Thanks, your pal Al.
Back in the day, that would have been the case. But Bill DeWitt III told us on this show that the Cardinals are running out of good numbers. And for several reasons, not the least of which is that Roland played much of his career, more of his career in Philly than here, even though he has the STL on his cap in the Hall of Fame. The Cardinals are concerned about the number of good numbers that are available to their players, so they are not going to retire 27.
4 will be retired. 5 will be retired.
Yep.
So, yeah, I understand that too. And he played on multiple teams. You had Philly, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Toronto.
Yeah.
But he wants the STL on his cap, and rightfully so. The way that Joe Pfeiffer and the alumni of the Cardinals put it all together, it's amazing. They treat their alumni as well as anybody, if not the best in Major League Baseball. So I think it was smart that he did, because there's opportunities, not like he needs the money, but there was opportunities for him. There are opportunities for him to take this to another level because he's got the HOF behind his name.
Yeah. And I would hope. Remember a couple of years ago when the Blues honored number 7 and they had Kachuk and Unger and Berenson and somebody else. It might have been Joey Mullen. They honored.
It was.
They didn't retire, but they honored the number 7. I think it'd be cool to honor 27, 44, 23 in some way. Just recognize the numbers, but you don't have to retire them.
I think that's a really good idea.
Dear Uncle Randy, a friend of mine is interested in proposing to his girlfriend. However, my wife discovered that she will likely say no. Do I let this play out or do I say something?
I think that's a good idea. If that's your best friend, I think it's a good idea to say something. Just say, hey, you might want to think about this before you ask. I would tell the guy, I said, look, make sure that she's going to say yes before you ask, and don't let her break your heart.
Yeah, maybe just say, test the waters with her. Just see, hey, have you guys talked about that long-term commitment? What's her idea of it? Is she in with that or not? Oh, that's tough.
The other one to do would say, hey, I know you're thinking about asking her. Call the Cardinals and ask her on the big screen.
Oh, no. Those rejections are the worst. I never know if some of them are real or not. I think some of them are fake now. Yeah. But could you imagine being rejected in that manner?
Well, but the pressure on her is tremendous.
Yep.
But then afterwards, or what if she's just like, okay, you put me in a really bad spot. I'm going to put you in a bad spot. And she says no.
But she's not going to be able to think that quickly.
Oh, right.
Jesus, Randy. I would also say you got to read the room. How old school is this person? Because I feel like a lot of people nowadays, if you're thinking about getting engaged and you've had that conversation, she's going to start dropping hints on what she wants the ring to look like.
Yep.
Because I don't know any of my
That's a
friends.
good point.
I don't know
Yep.
a single one of my friends, and I'm 32, who have gotten married where the girl was not intimately involved in actually picking out the engagement ring before they actually got engaged, because they had conversations beforehand like, we are going to get engaged, and it was like, the date was a surprise. How he was going to do it was a surprise. The ring was not a surprise, and the fact that the engagement was coming was not a surprise. And so I feel like if you're actually surprising a girl in 2024, something's not adding up, unless this person is just, again, super traditional and doesn't want any of that, and that could be a variable in this.
You know, you're right, because just about everybody I know, including myself, I knew that it was coming. Because
And you had impact on the ring, didn't you?
Did you spoil it?
Yeah, no, I already was making like a Pinterest page, and so then I was sending it over to him of just some ring ideas. So you're right. I think every single person I know, including myself, here recently, there's some big hints that are dropped.
I come in with notes on a sheet, and you're talking about a Pinterest page.
Yeah. Also, that's another thing. Talk to one of her friends. If she doesn't have a Pinterest board that she's been updating in the last time frame of your relationship, you're You're in trouble.
John Fitzgerald on the YouTube page says, Uncle Randy, he should tell her that Red Robin has a lot of burgers on the menu. You don't have to have the same one every time.
Oof. That would be not only not getting married, that's called breaking up.
I think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, dear Uncle Randy, my wife is a stay-at-home mom. I work a high-stress job meeting with clients all day long, and by Friday, I want to sit at home and do nothing, where she's ready to get out of the house. How do we compromise?
I would say that send her out with her friends and just let her hang out until the wee hours of the morning.
Oh.
No, it's, you know what?
Just gave me the
Look, here's the thing. I understand that you work a high-stress job. You know what? She's a stay-at-home mom. She works a high-stress job, too. There's an old saying, sometimes you just have to take one for the team. The old happy wife, happy life. If you're tired on a Friday night, just take her out. Go out. Make it a date night. And get a babysitter. It's literally 3 hours out of your week. And I guarantee if you make her happy on Friday, well, I don't guarantee it. I can't guarantee anything these days. But if you make her happy on Friday night, maybe she'll make you happy on Saturday night. Maybe she'll make you a steak or something.
Chestnut checkers.
You still have date nights?
No.
Yeah.
Randy.
What? I got stuff to do.
Don't stop dating.
You're a busy guy.
Never stop dating your wife, Randy. Come on.
What was that advice you just gave?
But it was for him.
Oh, okay.
But he's not old. He's young. He's got kids. She's
got
a
time.
stay-at-home mom taking care of the kids.
Yeah.
It's a different animal.
What would constitute a good date night with you and Joan? Look at you taking a deep breath.
Well, she doesn't like sports anymore, so that's, that.
Why doesn't she like sports anymore?
Sports. So, and sports, I'm watching games. That's my thing now. It always has been. So it's just not something that is part of the equation.
Okay.
Anything else that you guys do together on the weekends?
Oh, yeah, go to Lowe's and Home Depot. And stuff like that.
That is the fun part of
Menards.
it.
I imagine they just sit
yeah.
there and just the very macabre jokes are just flying back and forth for hours.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I
because
imagine.
we discussed that yesterday.
Your guys' sense of humor is locked in.
Mhm,
And
yeah.
I just imagine the jokes
Long
just flying
discussions
back and
about
forth.
O.J. Simpson.
Sure.
Yeah.
But sometimes they get cut.
Oh.
Randy's just in the thesaurus
Set him
looking
up for that.
Randy's in the thesaurus just looking for other words for slice. Just like, what other words are there?
Slash.
There you go. Dear Uncle Randy, I coach a 12U girls basketball team. My wife, who has never played a sport in her life, wants to give me lineup and rotation advice and always has coaching notes after the game. How do I politely ask her to sit down and enjoy the game?
You don't. You accept those notes, you accept that advice, and then ignore it. If she hasn't played and she doesn't know, she's concerned and she wants to be a part of it, which is great.
Yeah.
So you say, good idea, babe. I like that idea, babe. But then you don't have to implement it.
I would say, though, that she probably has a good feel of the other parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so rotation is very important in making sure that kids get the proper playing time.
Okay.
So maybe the notes could be, hey, little Johnny or little Susie didn't play all that much last weekend. You got to make up for it. So give her X amount of, or him, X amount of minutes this weekend.
That's a good call, Daniel. I hadn't thought of it in those terms. So in terms of teaching the game and in terms of coaching the game, stick to what you're doing, but from the political perspective,
that's where I'm going.
Listen to her. Okay,
Yep.
I like that.
I like that advice. Now, what happens, though, when she says, hey, I gave you the notes, but you didn't implement anything of what we had discussed?
She's never played. She's never coached. You say, yes, we did.
You didn't see it?
Yeah, exactly.
It happened while you were going to the bathroom.
Exactly right. I was going to ask that question too. I was like,
When you went to the
Randy-
concession stand.
Yeah, yes, we did.
Randy's just banking that she's not going to notice the rotations
right,
don't
exactly.
mimic anything she gave him.
Yeah. You were watching with 5 minutes left in the second quarter? Come on. I did exactly what you had written down.
Dear Uncle Randy, you mentioned going to the Cardinals game tonight. I've been considering taking my 3-year-old daughter to her first game, but we do live 4 hours away. Do you think she's too young to make that trip?
It depends.
6:15 start?
Yeah, 6:15 start, 4 hours away. So you're leaving at 2. But then 7, 8, 9. If she's willing after the game to sleep in the car, I think you're all right. 4 hours away. Yeah, that's 8 hours on the road for a 3-year-old. That might
a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that probably is. My recommendation would be, when you get the opportunity, bring her to a weekend day game where the weather isn't 100 degrees.
Yeah, it's really hot. Maybe, yeah, I think a day game would be a good play,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, so
a long drive.
leave if they have a 1:15 where the weather's going to, or get. If you can, if you have the wherewithal. The Cardinals have so many incredible all-inclusive areas. Find an all-inclusive area. Their new 703 Club is great. The UMB Champions Club is amazing. We're sitting in the Redbird Club tonight. There's a ton of great areas. But with a 3-year-old, you don't want her to be out in the 100-degree heat. So if you could get her into an all-inclusive area with air conditioning, that would be even better.
We're done with this segment, but I do want to say, I need 10 p.m. guy to text back in and give us an update.
Oh, is he not? While I was gone,
I know
I
he
didn't
doesn't.
know.
I know he doesn't like me because I made fun of him for complaining about only getting like 7 hours of sleep. But everyone else wants to hear from you, and so just forget the fact that I'm a jerk and please give us an update on the hilarious thing that definitely happened inside of your home when you pulled off the ultimatum. So I need an update, please.
At this stage of my life, am 100% incapable of sleeping for 7 consecutive hours. You guys?
No, I can't do it. I don't
No.
sleep.
That's about the most. I need to like
start there, yeah.
I need to have like a day for me to sleep like 7 hours. If I just like have like a regular day where I don't like work out or I don't like do anything like strenuous, 6 maybe, and my body just wakes me up.
Yeah, I can. I
respect
understand that
people who can sleep till
you
8.
snooze because I can do.
I can snooze sometimes.
6 hours in a day,
Yep.
but not consecutively.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I'm still a night owl in a lot of ways, and I've been working on that. You would think like by a year that I wouldn't be doing this anymore, but it's hard to break because my whole, bartending in college, then working in sports on TV, it was all really late nights, so it took me a long time to wind down. Dan, you would even know way more than I would. It just takes a while.
Do you guys nap? I don't nap.
I do.
Depends.
Here's my thing. I can, and sometimes I do need those too. But it's a little joke there. If I leave here, like when we finished the show, Brooke, on Monday, I went out and played golf, and I was up and alert and with it all day long. But if I would have just gone home and sat down on the couch, I would have crashed.
Yep.
So what I need to do is go work out or go play. I need to get outside or do something active rather than sit down.
How long do you nap?
Half hour tops.
That's
15 minutes,
perfect.
half hour. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
impressive. To Brooke's point, I'm at 2.5 years now, and my earliest bedtime this week has been 11. I'm terrible. I'm a 9 hour too. I can't
Yeah.
break it. I can't stop it. I don't know what it is.
No. Somebody from the 3 and 4 also called our advice today. The morning drive, the gaslight gang. Do you guys know what gaslighting is?
The opening drive.
No?
We are not gaslighting. We are not gaslighting anyone.
What does it
Come
mean?
on now.
Gaslighted
So
somebody?
gaslighting is kind of a newer term that people use to describe when you're kind of manipulating another person.
No,
So maybe our advice could be manipulative a little bit.
that's on Randy, not us.
Yeah, that's totally. And I'm a gaslighter.
See, that's
yeah.
gaslighting.
Oh yeah. Oops.
So, I don't know if it's manipulative.
Hey, it's just great advice. Sound
Thank you.
advice.
That's what I'm trying to do.
It's called Uncle Randy's segment.
Yeah, we're being raw. We're being real here. We've been around,
Giving good advice.
Yeah.
Sometimes, question mark.
If you're going to text that in, I need a concrete example of us gaslighting someone.
Maybe they were talking about the lineup situation with that mom and the 12U.
Telling a fib to save someone's feelings is not gaslighting. We've been doing that for hundreds of years. That's just telling a little fib to save someone's feelings.
A little white lie.
That's just what you do to That's just what you do to people you love.
Yeah, you just want them to you feel better about their situation.
Exactly.
I'm just getting warmed up.
Yeah, if you think we're gaslighting.
If I were the man I was 5 years ago, I'd take a flamethrower to this place.
See, that's what you say to somebody if they're complaining about your lineup. You just say, hey, I'd take a flamethrower to this place.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on us.
He texted a quote, I implemented it, you just didn't see it. There's a little bit of gaslighting. That's fair. That's a good point. That's a good point.
All right. Coming up next on 101 ESPN, we've got, let's see. The Cardinals are hot. Do you believe in the Cardinals? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, St. Louis, you can get your exclusive City SC debit card from Together Credit Union. Together Credit Union is the only place to find this official fan debit card, and it comes with incredible special perks like a free lifetime My City Plus membership, plus in-stadium discounts on food, beverages, and merchandise at all St. Louis City SC games, and most exciting, if you hate standing in line, express entry into City SC matches. And as a special bonus, you will get from Together Credit Union a commemorative print of City Park Stadium, the home of St. Louis City SC, while supplies last. How do you get the card? Open any personal checking account online at togethercu.org or stop by any of the Together Credit Union 14 local branches and choose the St. Louis City SC debit card at account opening. There's no cost for the City SC debit card, so don't wait. Sign up today and show your pride for St. Louis City SC with the Together Credit Union St. Louis City SC debit card. Membership eligibility required, federally insured by the NCUA.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals and Braves were rained out yesterday, and it's looking great for them to play two today. Split doubleheader, 12:45 day game, 6:15 night game. Kyle Gibson will start game one of the doubleheader today. He is also in line to join the opening drive later on today at 9 a.m., and the Cardinals have not yet announced their starter for game two. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Since Mother's Day, the Cardinals have been pretty good. That's the day that Ali Marmol got thrown out of a game. And the Cardinals have gone 24-13. They've played the Brewers, Angels, Red Sox. They really handled the Orioles in a sweep, then handled the Cubs here before going to Cincinnati. They played at Philadelphia, and that was kind of a rugged series. The Cardinals did win the finale. Then they went to Houston, lost the first two and won the last one, but then split against the Rockies, took 2 of 3 with the Pirates, took 2 of 3 against the Cubs. They took 1 of 3 against the Marlins, and then swept the Giants before winning the opener against the Braves. So 24-13 against mostly competition that standings-wise is lesser than them right now. But most of the National League has a record that's lesser than the Cardinals right now. So with all this in play, the Cardinals are only 3 games over 500, but they have been hot since the end of May. What is your, on a scale of 1 to 10, belief level in the Cardinals being able to be a postseason team? I'm an 8. I'm bought in here on the 24-13 run and their ability to be a playoff team.
I think that you have to be an 8 as well. I like 8.5, because right now with the third wild card, anything is possible with the Cardinals, and they're in position right now to do just that, to make the playoffs. So you have to believe with what you've seen, and you have to give credit when credit's due too, because the beginning of the season, look, we don't have to sugarcoat it. It was absolutely awful, but the way that they have been able to rebound despite injuries and despite Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt not really being the big story when it comes to your offense currently right now, I think that that says a lot about this team. Oh, and by the way, Wilson Contreras injured. Now, of course, he's back, but that was another part of your offense that you were worried about of what this team would look like after that start. You have that injury with Wilson. Where would the bats come from? And you've had that answer with the younger players really stepping up in a way that I don't think all of us really expected, with Alec Burleson, Brendan Donovan. I know that Gorman will be hopefully coming back. We talked about the peaks and valleys with him. Sometimes the valleys are very big, like we're currently seeing, but then you have Mason Wynn, a lot of young, talented players who are stepping up to the plate.
If the playoffs started today, 3-1-4, would your money be on who would your money be on? Mine would be on the Cardinals. I think they make the playoffs. I do. I saw Fangraphs had a percentage of teams that would get into the playoffs. Cardinals are at 48%. I still think they may win this division. I think it's not a foregone conclusion that Milwaukee's going to win this division. You still got a lot of baseball left to play, some head-to-head matchups with them. I think it depends on what you do at the trade deadline, number one, and also depends on getting guys healthy. And if they can get guys healthy, this is going to look like a different team. And who knows what the team would look like if you got Goldie and you got Arenado playing more to the level that we're accustomed to seeing. Arenado has dropped down to 6 in the lineup. We talked about that yesterday, too. Would he move down? I wonder if that was a byproduct of his arm too being hit by a pitch, and you worry a little bit about that. But I think it's kind of wait and see, but I do think they have a great chance to get in the playoffs.
And oh, by the way, if the playoffs did start today, the Cardinals would play the Braves, the team that they're playing right now.
Right.
It'd be Milwaukee and San Diego, with Philly and the Dodgers getting byes, and the Cardinals would be playing the Braves. Here's the reason that I go 8, guys, is because right now the Cardinals are playing the Braves, and I think getting a win out of the series against Atlanta is a bonus. I think that's a good thing if they win another one. If Gibson wins tonight, they take 2 of 3 from Atlanta. I think that's bonus time. I'm not intimidated by the Reds. That's who the Cardinals wind up June with. And then you move into July, not overwhelmed by the Pirates or the Nationals. The Royals are pretty good. You play 2 with the Royals in mid-July. Then you've got the Cubs here. We've already seen that. You go to Atlanta. They're tough, but then you're at Pittsburgh. You got Washington here, and then you got the Rangers at home, the world champion Rangers, and they'll be better by the end of July because they'll presumably get Scherzer and DeGrom back. My point is that I don't think anybody in baseball looks overwhelming. I don't think the Cardinals are overwhelming, but I don't think anybody that they're playing is overwhelming either, aside from the elite of the elite like the Dodgers and Phillies.
Yeah, in the National League, there's a lot of parity currently right now. And to your point, Dan, where you brought up Nolan Arenado, he did speak yesterday to reporters, and he talked about how he's been dealing with tendonitis in his left forearm. And you have to wonder, or I think assume, that that basically has been affecting him in some of his recent at-bats. Of course, he's missed the past 2 games. So that's something that definitely, I think it would be safe to assume, has been hampering him.
Yeah, if you get him back to just some level of where he's been, mix it in with the youth that they've had that are really at times carrying this club, now you got something. Now you got a team that is very, very formidable. I'm going to go a little bit different, though, Randy. I think like Atlanta, you need to win 2 or 3 this weekend or this week. I know they're a tough team because if you look at August, that's when the schedule really picks up and you've got some tough teams. And like you said, on paper, it could be a lull right now. But I look at it the other way. Let's go. You know, this is time to go. Your team should be better than the way that they played earlier in the season. They are playing better. Ride that out and say, hey, maybe we are one of the upper echelon teams, which I thought on paper they would be this year.
I thought so, too. And this is all predicated, obviously, what we're talking about on health. I think the Cardinals are right there with. I think they're at the top of the mediocrity. They're still mediocre, but I think they're at the top of the mediocrity. And I really think it's in terms of great teams, it's a 2-team league. It's the Dodgers and the Phillies.
Oh, yeah, 100%. We got a message in from the YouTube chat. I guess you could just say message on the YouTube chat, huh? From Philip. He said, I'm a 6.5 on being a playoff team. We got to keep playing good baseball. We can't have bad stretches like the Marlins and Rockies series. And that's what you're talking about, Dan, where one, of course, the Braves are a really good team, but you got to take care of business against them. You don't have Chris Sale now in this series, so you should be able to take advantage of that you don't have to face him. And you have to beat the bad teams. I think that's one thing that kind of gives people pause is that those really bad losses were to really bad teams.
That was and is alarming. And I don't know that that's going to change because, again, that's part of being mediocre is that you can beat really good teams and then not show up against Colorado, Miami, and the White Sox.
The thing is, too, you got to win at home. They're 21-15 at home. So now 6 games above 500, playing much better baseball at Busch Stadium. We talk about it all the time. You need to get like 5 to 10 above at home, play 500 on the road. And I think if they do that, then you're going to be talking about a playoff team. And you're going to get Newbar back. You're going to get Edman back. Maybe Jordan Walker at some point in the second half. I mean, there's a lot of things to look forward to that are positives with this team.
Let me just make one more point about playing Atlanta. Atlanta has 30 errors this year, half a season. They've made by far the fewest errors. The second place teams, Minnesota and Arizona, have each made 34. Atlanta is the team that I love that doesn't make mistakes to lose themselves baseball games. So if you beat Atlanta, you have to legitimately beat them and beat good pitching. And fortunately, the Cardinals aren't seeing Sale and Fried, but you have to beat them because they are going to hand you the game.
I think it's part of them being consistent with their lineup too.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, not having guys play out of position. They know where they're going to play every single night. And I do think the consistency of that does lend itself to having better defense.
That's Dan, that's Brooke, that's Matthew, and I'm Randy. Coming up on 101 ESPN, we have Take It or Leave It. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. 314-399. Yo-ho!
Why do you guys look at me when you do the yo-ho?
We've got one next hour. You want to just wait? You just want to wait it out?
Well, now you're put on the spot.
Yeah, and to just get it out of the way. Yo-ho!
Okay. There you go.
It's out of the way.
Tioli is next on 101 ESPN. Hey kids, the agent you choose to sell your home matters, and you need a written guarantee that you're going to get your desired price and be able to close in your time frame, eliminating the guesswork. That's exactly what Gloria Lou does. I'm sure you also want the most money, right? And Gloria already has the buyers, thousands of them, in fact, that are looking for a home just like yours and are willing to pay top dollar. It's Randy, and when it comes time to sell, you need that reliable agent, and Gloria Lou is the best. You can catch her today by just giving her a call at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888. And Gloria, for your home, is going to have buyers in place. She's able to guarantee the sale of your home in writing because Gloria already has the buyers. Thousands of ready buyers with over 20 years of buyers in an exclusive database that are looking to buy in your neighborhood and in your price range. So if you want to sell for the most money and in the best time frame, it's Gloria Lou. 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit her on the web at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? I'm going to put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit gloriahasthebuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
It's time for Tioli on 101 ESPN. Brooke, Dan, Randy, and Matthew. Get your text in now. 314-399-9646. 314-399-YO-HO. Guys, Gleyber Torres of the Yankees did not run out a ground ball last night in the 8th inning of the Yankees game. And he said that his groin during the run down to first base felt very tight. He was still booed. Take it or leave it. The Yankees fans that booed him should feel bad about it.
No. So leave it.
Okay. I agree. I'm going to take it too.
I think when you get postscript and you find out that he was hurt, then there's justification for not running it out. I can't stand it when guys don't run out the ball.
Me too.
Drives me crazy. And it's commonplace every single night in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Every single night.
Yeah, it is, right? it's part of what the game has become.
Yep.
But they're reacting to the moment. They don't know that that's going on, of course. So, no. And it's Yankees fans. So they're going to pay attention to things like that. So take it or leave it, guys. There's a lot going on with Texas A&M baseball. I don't know if you guys have seen this all over social media, but take it or leave it. Jim Schlossnagle is the most hated man in Texas, of course, outside of Austin now, because if you didn't see, he went from Texas A&M baseball after they lost and went directly the day after to Texas to be the new baseball coach over there.
I think it's the manner in which he left.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, the day before he said, I'm a lifer or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. I'm going to be an Aggie forever. I took this job never to leave. And then within 24 hours or less than 24 hours, he's the head coach of Texas.
Yeah. And you could have pivoted and not berated a writer for asking a logical question. If you have already basically agreed to become the head coach at the University of Texas, word's going to get out. And what you do is you pivot. When you're asked about your response to the rumors that you might go to Texas, say, hey, look, we just lost the College World Series. I've got a bunch of broken-hearted kids back there, and I want to get back there with my broken-hearted kids. I really don't want to talk about this right now. Any other questions about the game? Okay, thanks. Bye.
Exactly.
Period.
That's the right way to handle that.
Yeah.
Apparently, too, he did that. He went from TCU to Texas A&M. He did the same thing when it came to being asked about when he was leaving TCU to then go to Texas A&M, and now he does this at Texas. Maybe this is just kind of his thing he likes to do, is to
Well, that might be.
gaslight people, as we brought up earlier.
He's not going to leave Texas, though, for 3 years.
I wouldn't think so, unless he gets fired.
Yeah.
Augie Garrido is a head coach at Texas, historic baseball coach for so many years. He was there forever. It's tough to live up to what Texas expects their baseball program to be, which is to be in the national championship game every single year.
Every year. Yep.
Every single year. All right, Scotty Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau have played in 3 events together. Bryson has beat Scotty in 2 of those 3 events. So, having said that, I was thinking about this. Will Scotty Scheffler's run of 6 events that he's won on the PGA Tour have an asterisk by it in 10 years from now because the LIV players were not a part of it?
No, I'm going to have to leave that. He still deserves a lot of credit for what
sure.
he's been doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to leave it, too. It's not his fault that they aren't playing. All he can do is play against the people that are playing in front of him.
And I think asterisk is probably too tough of a word, but would people reflect on this in 10 years and say, well, DeChambeau wasn't a part of it, you didn't have Phil Mickelson, you didn't have Smith, you didn't have P. Reed, you didn't have Dustin Johnson, didn't have Koepka. I mean, there's a lot of big names that are not a part of the PGA Tour right now.
Yeah, but if you go back 10 years ago now, in 2014, I mean, you're dealing with an injured Tiger Woods. So anybody who won, well,
That's a great point.
Tiger was only 36 and should have still been in his prime, right? So where do we draw the line here?
Yeah, exactly. And you only can play the guys that are on tour.
That's the bottom line. Yeah,
Yep.
You got the schedule that's put in front of you. All right, Matthew, what do you got on the text line?
Take it or leave it. The Cardinals' best option at the deadline that's within Mo's realm of possibility would be trading for Nick Pivetta and Kenley Jansen of the Red Sox.
Ooh, that'd be interesting and fun.
Red Sox are playing very good baseball right now, though.
Yeah, and I if I could get them, I would take them. But I'm with you, Dan. I look at the Red Sox, and you look at the American League. Right now, they're only, they would be in the third wild card spot.
They're in 43 and 37, up by a half game over Kansas City.
Yeah. So I really think at this point, and this is going to change by the time we get to August 1st or July 31st, whatever it is. But you're looking at White Sox, A's, Angels, maybe Toronto, Rockies, and Marlins as the 5 teams that would be major sellers at the deadline.
Yeah, it seems like those will be all of the teams, so I can't see it.
There was an unusual report from Bleacher Report writer Kerry Miller. He said maybe the Cardinals bring back Tyler O'Neill back for Boston for a few months.
No.
Not a chance.
No chance.
Is that like a joke post? There's no way.
No.
Why would they do that? What is the reasoning behind it in the article?
Well, they just needed help in there with a right-handed batter and get an outfielder with power. So that's what they're at. That's what I assume that he's bringing up. But they've been down that road with Tyler O'Neill. I don't think that you're going to do that.
There may be issues beyond baseball issues with the Cardinals and Tyler O'Neill.
There you go. Yeah, like staying on the field.
Yeah.
That was a problem.
Or rounding third and hustling.
Against the Atlanta Braves last year.
Right.
It's like Brady Quinn when he worked out too much. It's hard to make that angle when you have that much muscle around the third base. It's hard to turn like that sharply. You know what I mean? Take it or leave it. The Cardinals should trade Nolan Gorman and a prospect for a front-end starter.
Ooh, no.
I'm going to leave that.
Well, I'm not going to hop off of it now. That front end starter. I said I would have done that during the offseason. So I won't jump off that. If you can get a Dylan Cease quality starter, I said last year that all offseason, and I'd do it today. I would do Gorman and Graceffo for a guy like Dylan Cease.
What about Gorman, though, being so young? And I understand where you're going with this. I really do. I think it's logical, but Gorman being so young, and he's going to wind up hitting 30 home runs. I mean, that's tough to find these days from a left-handed batter.
Not as tough as it is to find a number one starter.
The way the game's played, we talked about this last night or yesterday or whenever it was, Randy. I don't know. We do it in the mornings, I guess. We just talk about the power that's needed in the game to win, and I just don't think that you give up on that.
Well, here's the thing. I think the Cardinals do have power and power on the way. I would think that it would be easier for the Cardinals to find a way to score runs than it would be able to find ways to pitch if they didn't have Nolan Gorman.
It's just hard. It's hard to give up a homegrown left-handed power bat. That's not something that just grows on trees.
Who's our number one starter?
Sonny Gray.
Who's our number two starter then? Playoffs against
Kyle
Aaron
Gibson.
Nola. Let's say Zach Wheeler starts game one. Who you pitching against Aaron Nola?
Probably Miles Michaelis right now.
Yeah.
If he's going the way that he's going right now.
Yeah.
Whoever has the hot hand.
It would have been nice to get Dylan Cease. And you wouldn't have had to give up Gorman, probably.
Matthew?
Take it or leave it. The Cardinals. The Blues trade up in the first round to get a D-man.
Leave it.
Leave it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be nice. But the thing is, in the NHL draft, we aren't going to see this guy for 5 years. Right? You draft an 18-year-old, 4 years maybe. We aren't going to see him for a long time. Even if you trade up. If you have, look, we drafted Eric Johnson in 2006 and didn't see him for a couple of years. So it's just the way it is in the NHL. You've got to develop players at the minor league level or at the collegiate level. You're probably not going to see them as great 18. I wonder who the last great 18-year-old defenseman was in the NHL.
Rasmus Dahlin. He was the first. He was the first overall pick for the Sabres, and I think he played when he was.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he might have been 19. I don't think he was 18.
I wonder how great he was.
He was on just an absolutely terrible team, and so he wasn't good. I'm getting walked defensively.
What the Blues need, they need guys that are able to compete now for playoff spots. They aren't Buffalo. They can't have guys that are just growing and you're marinating.
He won. He actually finished third in the Calder at 18 years old. Dahlin had 44 points for the Sabres, but he was a minus 13.
Okay. What I need is a big shutdown guy that's rugged.
That's what I'd love.
Yeah, that's what I need to add to this team.
And you were talking about it yesterday, Matthew, that the Blues in their pick, the middle teens are looking for, or could potentially want to be in a defenseman that falls in their lap from Sweden.
Yeah. Ferraro keeps talking about this 6'4" Swede, left shot Swede defenseman, which again it just seems like a perfect, everything kind of crosses perfectly for him to be the pick. Take it or leave it. An American wins the British Open this year.
I'm going to take that.
I'm going to go with Scotty.
It's hard to pick against him.
Yeah.
Where is it? Royal Troon. Royal Troon this year.
Can we get a 6'1" Swede, by the way, defenseman? Can we just get the next Nicholas Lidstrom, please?
You said you wanted a big body. You said you wanted a big body.
I'll. You know what? I would take Nicholas Lidstrom's game.
That's fair. All right. I guess so.
I'll if I can get prongs, I'll take prongs.
What about Zdeno Chara?
If you could give me one of the top 5 defensemen in the history of the game.
If I can get you a Slovakian...
I'll take it.
What if I can get you a Slovakian giant?
It can't hurt.
All right, fair enough.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, the MLB trade deadline is 5 weeks away, and the Cardinals, we hope, will be in the market. What's a reasonable target for Mo and Gersh and the Cardinals? That's next on 101 ESPN. The warm St. Louis summer heat is here. It was 102 yesterday, and you might be taking your air conditioner for granted. Well, if you haven't scheduled your air conditioner tune-up yet, you need to get in touch with my friends at Hoffman Brothers. They are an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, and at Hoffman Brothers, they want to offer you a friendly reminder that now's the time to get that tune-up scheduled. Their friendly and knowledgeable staff will come out to your house. They'll look at your air conditioner. They'll check it out, make sure it's all clean and good to go for the summer, and they'll also give you a status report of how your air conditioner is doing. If it needs repairs, there's nobody better in St. Louis at doing air conditioner repairs at Hoffman Brothers. And if you need a new one, well, they've got new air conditioners as well. Don't wait until your air conditioner stops working. Call or text Hoffman Brothers at 314-664-3011, 314-664-3011, or find them on the web at hoffmanbros.com, and you can set up your appointment there. It's going to remain hot in St. Louis for a couple of more months. You need to make sure your air conditioner is good to go by having Hoffman Brothers out to the house. Again, hoffmanbros.com.
Fresh perspective on today's top stories. This is Fresh Take.
Presented by Lindenwood University. Real experience, real success.
Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. 5 weeks until the MLB trade deadline, and the Cardinals will have some needs. So let's presume that they're going to be able to hang in. They should be able to hang in, and they're going to be buyers. What would be a reasonable thing for the Cardinals to buy? What item would you like to see the Cardinals get? And I'm not talking about being able to go out and get Garrett Crochet from the White Sox. I don't think that that's a reasonable expectation for the Cardinals. He still has a couple of years of arbitration left, and before he even gets to arbitration, I don't see him as viable. If the Whites, now you call and you ask the White Sox, okay, can I get the guy? And you hope that they're really dumb, but I don't think that Chris Getz is that dumb. No. He's going to trade that guy.
And everybody's going to try to get Garrett Crochet. He's got a lot of time left on his situation with whomever picks him up. I think reasonably, I'd look at bullpen help. And I'm okay with Palante being my number 5 just to get to postseason play, if that's what you are trying to do. Of course they are. The other thing is, if I could get let's say a number 2, I'd look at that. But I think reasonable is something like, can you count on Gallegos? Can you count on Leahy? Can you count on Fernandez? I'm not so sure yet, and I'm concerned a little bit about the usage of Romero, Kittredge. Helsley, his walk rate is way up in the last 3 weeks, so got to be careful with him. I'm trying to solidify my bullpen as much as I can.
I think it's going to be pitching and pitching. And just putting on my Cardinals thinking cap, I think that they're going to do the same thing that they've been doing, that we've seen at the trade deadline when it comes to that, where you find guys who are true rentals. And I think something to look at. I know that the Marlins is a team that everybody is going to be looking at of trying to get guys. Of course, Jesus Luzardo is a big name that people were wanting and kind of hoping for, but now he's dealing with that injury, so that is off the table. What about Tanner Scott with the Marlins? Now, he is a true rental because he will be a free agent at the end of the season, and he just picked up his 10th save of the season, I believe yesterday, for the Marlins. So that's a guy that I would say fits in that category. He's a little bit younger, too. He's 28 years old. I think that fits that category of maybe a type of player is a true rental. We've seen what they've done in the past, maybe even getting an older pitcher that they feel like they could work in there. Hap, we saw that. We saw Lester as well. And finding somebody like that, I think, is what the Cardinals are going to do. So it's going to be 2 pitchers is what I think is what they're going to go and try to pick up.
Yeah, there really isn't a number 1 type starter on one of the teams that we think is going to be out of it, one of the 5 that are going to be selling.
Isn't that amazing? There's only 5 teams really right now.
Yeah, and there might be 6, but I don't see Toronto. Maybe Toronto would move a guy like Gausman, but I don't see that. But that's the kind of guy, if you could work that deal, that would fit in. And they seem to be, if they're going to move Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and he's talking about being moved to the Yankees, and there's also talk about them moving Bo Bichette to the Dodgers. Well, if they're going to clear out their position guys, they'll need other position guys. Maybe they would be willing to move a pitcher like Kevin Gausman. If I could do that, if I'm the Cardinals, I would be very intrigued by it.
I think your point about when you get into postseason play, who are your horses to match up with other teams? Other teams have the same problem. I mean, when you say that you're going to go up against Nola and Wheeler and some of these guys with the Phillies, other teams are in that same boat, man. I just think the marketplace for starting pitching is going to be really, really tough, and that's why I'd probably look at bolstering my bullpen and just making that the strength of my team.
Yeah, there's no problem. I have no problem with adding arms in the bullpen. I would just like to have that number 1 guy, because ultimately, if you're going to get to the World Series, you have to anticipate that you're going to face Sale, Fried, and Lopez, by the way, or you're going. Ranger Suarez is great too. You're going to have a big 3 in Philly. You're going to have a big 3 in Atlanta, and when the Dodgers get healthy, and you might not even. Well, how many years have we said you're not going to have a chance against the Dodgers? But the Dodgers, they could have a 10-man rotation. Yep. And you're gonna face 3 good starters when you take on the Dodgers come playoff time.
That's why I like Tanner Scott for the bullpen, and also even with relievers, no matter how dominant they are, you really don't have to give up that much when it comes to top 100 prospects. So the Cardinals wouldn't have to do too much there. Now we do keep getting a couple people texting in about what about an outfield bat? Do you guys see them doing anything like that at the trade deadline?
Well, Mo talked about it.
Yeah, but I don't see that though. I mean, if you have Edmund coming back and you've got Lars Nootbaar, you've got Burleson you can play out there, you got Brendan Donovan, and I still am not sold on the fact that Jordan Walker is going to spend the entire year in AAA. He's starting to hit the ball a little bit better, starting to hit it for power. I think you're covered. I do. I think you're covered there. I'm just very concerned. It's pitching, as Brooks said. And wherever I can find it, whatever I can acquire, I'm going to get it.
And what Mo talked about was a right-handed hitting outfielder that could play a little bit of center field. And we mentioned all those guys. None of them are right-handed hitting center fielders. We also haven't mentioned Dylan Carlson. I think for a guy that's going to play some, because I think even if you get Tommy Edman back, it's problematic as to whether or not he's going to give any quality, right? Because he just hasn't played since last year. The one guy that might be able to do something for you if you don't make a move out there is Carlson. But again, I don't see that guy being out there that we're talking about a right-handed hitting center fielder that can hit and play the position.
I would have thought Harrison Bader would have been that guy, but all of a sudden the Mets have turned this thing around.
Yep, they're hot.
And they're very hot. They're
he's playing well.
He's playing very well. Homered again last night off of Garrett Cole. So it's just going to be a fascinating market just because so many teams are in, and the mediocrity right now of the National League. Everybody seems to be in, with the exception of a couple teams.
Everybody needs pitching too, and so that's a position that you're in. Now, when Tommy Edman does return, do you maybe look at having him at second to give Gorman maybe someone a break, have him DH a little bit?
I think it's on the table. Sure.
Yeah, if you have to get him into games, I would take a look at that, absolutely.
But against a right-hander, I've got Gorman in my lineup no matter what. No matter what. And good, bad, and different, he's got to be in my lineup because he's going to walk into some home runs.
Yep. That is today's Fresh Take here on 101
you got
ESPN.
Burki coming up.
Yeah, Roman Burki, the goaler for the St. Louis City SC side, will join us next on the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
Save big money at Menards and stock up on your favorite Procter & Gamble products. We carry quality products from brands you can trust, like Dawn, Tide, Bounty, and more. Keep your home clean and stocked with essentials like paper towels, toilet paper, dish soap, and more cleaning supplies. Now through June 30th, get a $10 instant savings with a purchase of $40 or more on qualifying Procter & Gamble products. Hurry in, don't wait.
Save big money at Menards.
Thank you. And as your valedictorian, I must admit, I cheated. Oh, not at school. It was at Frank Leda Mitsubishi in the automotive outlet. I got thousands off with only $29 down. It felt like cheating.
Everyone gets a great deal at Frank Leda because every vehicle is $29 down, $29. And you don't have to be a valedictorian. You just need $29 down at Frank Leda Mitsubishi.
How'd you get a lifetime warranty? No charge.
Plus, any trades accepted, any condition, paid for or not.
Acres of new, acres of pre-owned. And every vehicle is $29 down.
$29! At Missouri's #1 new Mitsubishi dealer.
Frank Leda Mitsubishi.
In the automotive outlet in Bridgeton.
Yes, Leda.com.
YesLeda.com.
New 24 Outlander, 39.1, 29 down, $720 a month for 72 months at 10% APR. Plus tax, tag title to qualified buyers.
Hey everyone, it's Rocc here, and I want to tell you why I love the Missouri Athletic Club. It's because they're helping me stick to my big goals for this year. One, to get into better shape. I've always felt like I was in good shape, but I just really wanted to work on building muscle this year, and I work out with Christine twice a week over at the West location, and she is fantastic. It's so much fun, and I've also seen huge results. Also, the other big goal was to get back into tennis, the sport I've been playing my entire life, and it's been so much fun getting back to it thanks to Scott over at the West location as well. They always provide such a wonderful experience, and that's why I love my MAC.
This is Jay Delsing. My show Golf with Jay Delsing can be heard every Sunday morning from 8 to 10 right here on 101 ESPN. And as always, it's brought to you by Darty Business Solutions. Tune in for the latest from the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour, our local golf scene, and much, much more. That's Golf with Jay Delsing, featuring the biggest names in golf every Sunday morning from 8 to 10 on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN has your chance to score free tickets to Green Day on August 15th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Green Day will be back this August with special guest Rancid for a huge show at the amphitheater. Get all the ticket details and get entered to win those free tickets for the show right now, either at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
Welcome back to the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Brooke Grimsley, Randy Carricker with you, and we head to the celebrity line. And with us on behalf of Together Credit Union is the goalie for St. Louis City SC, Roman Burki. Roman, it's always good to talk to you. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
We're doing great. Thank you so much for talking to us today. Roman, I want to ask you another draw for your team this past weekend against Atlanta, but still you guys were able to pick up your first goal since the beginning of the month. How big was that for your team to be able to break through that scoreless drought?
Yeah, it was very important because obviously it's a big topic, in the team, and for us to score, especially an offensive player, meant a lot. And so we can keep going like this, and I hope that next Saturday is going to be even better with a win.
Roman, you're the captain, and I know you have your finger to the wrist of this team to have the pulse. What's the vibe like? What's the confidence level of your club right now?
I would say it's a lot of, I would say struggling in each and every one was like thinking about what can I do better. We are a team that is working really hard. Everybody wants getting better, and sometimes it's just like it's not working at the moment. We need one big moment, and then we can breathe a little bit and keep building on that moment. And I hope that's next Saturday.
What has been the big feeling, just the adjustments from obviously the inaugural season last year and then this year, where now everybody knows who you guys are?
Yeah, I would say at the beginning of the franchise, the first season in the MLS, nobody was expecting anything from us, and now maybe there's a little bit more pressure, in some guys, and that's maybe a reason, but it shouldn't be because we work hard, like I said, in training. Everybody is putting the energy in, and it's just like I said, maybe it needs a little moment, a little positive thing that changes the whole rhythm.
And Roman, I want to get this from your perspective, because I've heard observers say that the team is actually performing at a better level than last year. But last year, things were happening. You were getting a lot of breaks. And I know you guys have said ad nauseum, hey, we're done with last year. But relative to last year, how do you think this team is performing?
No, I agree. We are performing. If you look at the stats, stats is always one side. We are actually doing better when it comes with the ball, when it comes into giving up chances. But last year, I would say it was easier for us to score a goal. This year, everything feels a little bit harder. We have to work a little bit more for it, and I think that's the difference.
Roman, speaking of young faces, first start for Jayden Reed this past weekend. What did you see from him?
Oh, he was phenomenal. He was actually a big positive thing. Coming in, haven't played, didn't really train with the team. I think he did one training with the team, and then on the weekend he was ready to play. It was amazing to see a young guy coming in confident and playing the way he played.
How difficult is it to develop chemistry on a squad?
I think if you go through negative phases like we kind of go through now, like you grow together, you want to come out of this situation together, and so it's even more intense. You talk, you analyze games. Sometimes maybe there is a lot of critics, at other guys, but we each and everyone knows how to handle these critics, and so I think this is a way of growing together, even sticking together more and supporting each other in different and difficult phases.
And Roman, that question was geared more towards a new player coming in, and like you said, hardly had any training time with City SC, but was able to assimilate rather quickly. That seems like it's pretty unusual. It seems like it takes more time usually to get into the system.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I also have to say that the guys that we have in our team, they are open-minded. They are supporting the young guys. They are not like. They are not closing down. If something new comes, they're open for help. And we all know that we could use at the moment with the injury list that we have, we could use every player that wants to play for us. And Jayden just was the man at the right time, and he played a phenomenal game. Also due to the players supporting him around him, I would say.
Speaking of guys coming in, Cedric Toyshirt should be joining as soon as, I believe, later this week is what's being reported. There's other reinforcements also on the way. How big will those additions be going into the second half of the season?
Yeah, definitely quality-wise, a big change, and I would say a very important players too. So I think to be honest, I can't wait to have the guys with us in a facility and train with them, and they helping us, we helping them, and just getting out of that difficult phase that we are in right now.
St. Louis City SC is at Vancouver on Saturday night. And by the way, it's supposed to be about 65 degrees. It'll be glorious in Vancouver, Roman. How much now do you use technology? How much do you use video to prepare for an opponent that you haven't seen this year, like Vancouver?
To be honest, we trust our staff. They prepare videos for us. They prepare the set pieces, how they might hit the ball, outswinger, in-swinger. So we have a lot of information from the staff. Some players as well, they have individual videos, So I would say there's no excuse not to be prepared for something. So I think we should be good, and I'm really positive that we are going to see a St. Louis win on Saturday.
Speaking of video and being a captain of the team and leader that we know that you are, we've seen that video come out of where you've been recruiting players and guys to come here over to St. Louis, and I know that fans really enjoyed that. Did you know that those videos were going to get out to the public?
Yes, one definitely. I was joking around with Royce all the time about if you come to MLS, you have to give us a chance, this and that, So I definitely knew that this is going to get picked up from Sky Sports or whatever it was. So it was kind of funny, and also I was also in talks with Lutz, if he's okay if I'm doing that, and and he was okay too, so he found it funny too.
How much do you enjoy recruiting and telling other players that you know about City SC and St. Louis?
Oh, I'm trying, I'm definitely trying. A lot of players that I played with, maybe they are coaches now, some are still playing, and maybe at the end of their towards the end of their career, and like Marco is now, Royce, he wants something new, and so for me it was a big opportunity to just bring our name into the discussion, and I think it was a good thing.
And Roman, you launched Save for Savings with Together Credit Union last year, and you were able to make a lot of money. Tell us about that endeavor that you have going on with Saves for Savings.
Yeah, so I didn't really make a lot of money. I tried to bring a lot of money to the community, So we had a lot of saves, and for every save, there's a $300 worth checking account open for the kids, saving accounts, for kids. And so I had a couple of saves last season, and that was a great thing, especially when I was able to gift a certificate to the kids by myself. That was a great time.
And for every save City SC makes during the regular season, Together Credit Union opens an Earn and Learn savings account for a local student who has completed financial education seminars co-hosted by City SC and Together Credit Union, and the program obviously led by Roman, who was the 2023 goalkeeper of the year in MLS. And those 127 saves last year resulted in $38,100 in total savings, which is great. And I know that you've really integrated yourself into the St. Louis community, Roman, and I know you enjoy not only doing things like that, but you really are a part of St. Louis now. How have you enjoyed it?
It's great. The heat, it's hard. It's hard for the training, but it's fun. It's fun to be around the guys. The people here are very nice, and it's just I enjoy myself a lot here in St. Louis.
All right, but before we let you go, I want to revisit Vancouver, and what will it take for St. Louis City to get a win in Vancouver on Saturday?
It needs a complete performance. I think we have to do everything together. We have to attack together, we have to defend together, and we don't have to be, or we can't be too negative if something goes wrong. We have to keep a clear head through the whole 90 minutes, and then I'm sure that we are gonna have a successful weekend.
Roman Burki with us on 101 ESPN. And by the way, if you go to Together Credit Union and open an Empower checking account, you can receive a free City SC debit card that offers free lifetime My City Plus memberships. Roman, thanks so much for the time. We always enjoy talking to you. We appreciate it. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Roman Burki. We recorded that yesterday with Roman because he has training this morning. And so it's great to have him with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, Matthew, do you need a fighter?
Yeah, because somehow being 700 off still didn't lose you the tiebreaker yesterday.
I was 700 off for triple plays in Major League Baseball history.
Yeah, you're right. Win's a win.
Yeah, a win. Yeah, I'll take the W. Coming up next, we've got the fight. All you need to do if you'd like to participate is text in 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO with your name of the word fight. Maybe Matthew will pick you to fight me next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for a DraftKings at Casino Queen Redbird report on 101 ESPN.
Brooke Grimsley here for your Redbird report. Rain washed away the Cardinals and Braves' chance of playing last night. Now the two teams will play a split doubleheader today. The day game will start at 12:45 with Kyle Gibson and Reynaldo Lopez. And then the night game, first pitch will be at 6:15 with Bryce Elder getting the starting nod for the Braves, while the Cardinals haven't announced who will be going in that game yet, but Andre Palante is the scheduled starter. So there will be no Chris Sale in this series. He instead will face the White Sox on Thursday.
The Redbird report is presented by DraftKings at Casino Queen. Play, stay, dine at DraftKings at Casino Queen.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals were rained out yesterday, which means we have a split doubleheader today. 12:45 day game, 6:15 first pitch for the night game. Kyle Gibson will start for the Cardinals in game 1. To be announced will start for the Cardinals in game 2. Kyle Gibson also joining in this show later on today. 9 o'clock, he joins the opening drive. And yesterday, the only other big news was a big trade in the NBA as the Brooklyn Nets shipped Mikal Bridges across the state, or excuse me, across the city to the New York Knicks for a bevy of draft picks. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American and heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the fight. Brooke, Dan, and Rocco here, and it's time. I already mentioned that for the fight, but anyways, we're going to welcome in our fighter, Rob. Rob, how are you doing this morning?
Great. How are you?
Oh, we're doing great. Is this your first time facing Randy in the fight?
This is my second.
Ooh.
And how'd you do on the first?
I think I lost 3-1. I'm expecting more of the same today.
Oh, I don't like to hear that. You got to be confident coming into these. Trust your stuff.
The elation, if I do pull one out, will be even that much sweeter. So.
Oh, man. Would it ever? Okay, here we go with question 1.
All right, Rob. Which Hall of Fame quarterback is the all-time NFL career leader in fumbles? Is it Kerry Collins, Eli Manning, or Brett Favre?
I'm going to say Brett Favre.
Okay, off to a good start. Question 2. Willie Mays had his jersey retired by both the Giants and the Mets. Which player is the only one to have his number retired by multiple NFL teams? Is it Peyton Manning, Sonny Jurgensen, or Reggie White?
I'll go with Peyton.
Final answer?
Yeah.
On to question 3.
The Knicks have reunited 4 Villanova players from the 2016 NCAA championship squad. Who did that team beat in the title game? Was it Oregon, Kentucky, or UNC?
My first thought was UNC, so I'll go with that.
The 2004 Cardinals had the MV3 on offense and a stud rotation, with 4 out of 5 starters winning 15 or more games. Who was the only starter who didn't break that 15-win mark, finishing the season at 11-8? Was it Matt Morris, Chris Carpenter, or Woody Williams?
I was at that World Series Game 4, but I'll go with Woody Williams.
All right, Rob, nice job. Let me go get Randy.
How are you feeling, Rob?
I guess better than I did last time with Danny's responses there, so
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Dan kind of gives a little bit of a clue or indicator on how you did on the fight today. And here comes Randy, drink in hand, grapes. Uh-oh. Where are the grapes?
Grapes are gone.
You already had them.
I ate my grapes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Randy, say hi to Rob.
Rob, good morning. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing today. Good to have you with us.
This is the second time that he has fought you.
All right.
So we'll see what happens.
You
Ready
nervous,
for
Randy?
I'm nervous.
Okay.
He looks it, right? Here's question number 1, Randy. Which Hall of Fame quarterback is the all-time NFL career leader in fumbles?
All-time leader in fumbles. I think I'm going to go with, it was John Elway. I think I will go... I'll do the lifeline right off the bat here, just to make sure.
Okay. Kerry Collins, Eli Manning, or Brett Favre?
I'll go with Eli.
Question 2. Willie Mays had his jersey retired by both the Giants and the Mets. Which player is the only one to have his number retired by multiple NFL teams?
Well, 18 is retired by the Colts and the Broncos, so... Peyton Manning's number, even though it was retired for Frank Tripucka, is technically retired by both. So that player definitely did have his number retired by 2 teams.
So you're going with
18 with Indy and Denver, both retired.
Okay.
So,
Question 3, Randy. You ready?
yeah.
The Knicks have...
Matthew is laughing here.
Oh, okay.
So should I change? Is that a technicality?
There is a technicality.
It is, yeah. That's because it's not Peyton's jerseys that got retired.
But it's the
Kelly
number
18.
Frank.
Or Frank Tripucka, sorry, I don't want to say Kelly. Yeah, it's Frank Tripucka's jersey that got retired for 18 in Denver.
Okay, well let's go. Let's do some work here then.
Justice for Randy.
Well, that's just trying to make sure that we get it right here. So let's just run around here.
God, Randy, you're amazing.
So let's see. Rams, Niners, Cardinals. Let's see. Probably. Well, no, it couldn't be Leo Jones. Probably not Rich Gannon. Retired for 2 teams. This is a good one. Let's see. Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders. I don't think the Raiders, they definitely haven't retired number 80 for Jerry Rice. Who, it's almost got to be a quarterback that did Super Bowls for, or did great things for 2 teams. Colts, Titans. Hell, I don't know. I'll just go with my little technicality there, I guess.
Justice for Randy.
I'd say justice for Randy. Because it's true. His number has been retired by 2 teams, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I'll think about it as we go along. We'll see.
Okay.
Ready for 3?
Yeah.
Okay. The Knicks have reunited 4 Villanova players from the 2016 NCAA championship squad. Who did that team beat in the title game?
I think they beat Carolina. I'm going to go with North Carolina Tar Heels.
Are you ready for question 4?
I am, sir.
The 2004 Cardinals had the MV3 on offense and a stud rotation, with 4 out of 5 starters winning 15 or more games. Who is the only starter who didn't break that 15-win mark, finishing the season at 11-8?
11-8. So, 2004, Carpenter went down in August. I thought he got to 15, though. So you had Carpenter, Suppan, Woody, Marquis, and Morris. I think Morris got to 15. It's got to be between Marquis and Carp. And I'm going to say that it was... I'm going to say that Jason Marquis is the one that didn't get to 15.
All right, Matthew, have fun.
We have a winner in today's fight. Rob, his second shot at Randy Carricker. Does he walk away with a win? Don't you laugh during the run-up. Come on now. Does he walk away with a victory, or does Megamind get another win today? Ring that bell.
The winner and new champion of the fight, Average Joe Listener.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Congratulations, Rob. You took down Randy today. In fact, if we just throw out all the confusion around question number 2, you still took down Randy Carricker today. You did great in the fight. You got 3 questions right, and that's always a good number to get a win. Congratulations, Rob.
Thank you.
Let's go through the questions and the answers, and I'll take my shellacking. Which Hall of Fame quarterback is the all-time NFL career leader in fumbles? Brett Favre is the career leader in fumbles with 166. He's got a ton in there. Or sorry, 180. Sorry, Elway was 166. Willie Mays had his jersey retired by both the Giants and Mets. Which player is the only one to have his number retired by multiple NFL teams? The answer we were looking for was Reggie White, who had 92 retired by both the Packers and the Eagles. Randy Carricker is correct. The Broncos do have number 18. Also retired.
It's unbelievable.
I know.
Rob,
really good, right?
We should just the listeners said
number 18. Is it retired by the Broncos?
But the question then
is
would
it
be,
retired by the Colts?
But there's multiple teams that have different numbers retired. Like they have the same number retired. I mean, like there's some teams that have both. They have like 12 both retired. And so, like, that's a different trivia question.
Question 3, please.
You got a special dispensation to wear.
Is his number retired by 2 separate teams?
It's not. It wasn't his. It was not Peyton Manning's number when it was retired by the Broncos.
Can you read the question again?
Which player is the only one to have his number retired by multiple NFL teams?
What was his number?
His number was 18.
Is it retired by the Colts?
Yes.
Is it retired by the Broncos?
It is.
Okay.
The Knicks have reunited 4 Villanova players from the 2016 NCAA championship squad. They beat UNC in that game. It was a last-second buzzer beater. None of those 4 players took it. Do you remember who took the buzzer beater for Villanova to win that game?
DiVincenzo, right?
He inbounded. He inbounded the ball to Chris Jenkins, who then hit the following
so the
way.
Knicks got to get him.
Yeah, exactly. They got to get Jenkins. I think he's available. And the 2004 Cardinals had the MV3 on offense and a stud rotation with 4 out of 5 starters winning 15-plus games. The only one who didn't break the 15-win mark, finishing the season at 11-8, was Woody Williams. So a win today for Rob in the fight. Rob, we will talk to you tomorrow for round number 2. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
No, it's Rob.
Rob.
Yeah, Rob.
Good to have you with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, Connor McDavid doesn't have a championship yet. All time, who's the best team sport athlete that hasn't won a championship? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN.
Hey, Danny Mac for Stewart's American Mortgage on this Wednesday. If you're someone who is looking to purchase a home or refinance, or if you're looking to consolidate some of that ugly credit card debt, maybe you don't know exactly what direction to go to in any of these things. Well, let me make it easy for you. Call Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. He will help you every step of the way. As a matter of fact, he's on the phone line with us here on 101 ESPN. And Stewie, right now, you better not procrastinate.
You know what, Danny? This is a challenge. It's human nature. People say, you know what? I don't want to deal with these challenges. I can't pay my bills. The credit card rates are high. I just can't deal with it. I don't want to talk about it. It brings me down. You know what I'm talking about out there. You know the challenges you have. You just don't want to have to deal with it. Yesterday, we closed an ESPN listener. He called me. I said, we can save you $100 a month on your overall payments. $100, I don't want to deal with the paperwork. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. It's too much time for me. It's a headache. But you know what? I said to him, listen, for the next 30 years, write me a check for $100. How do you feel now? All of a sudden, he changed his mind. If you're in a situation you can save money, if you closed your loan last year where rates were much higher, you ought to refinance now free with the bagel loan. If rates go down later, you can do it again because it won't cost you a dime more, but you got to take the action. You got to pick up the phone to improve life and make yourself happier. It takes that effort.
Yeah, Stewie just mentioned the bagel loan. If you borrow $200,000 or more, there's no underwriting fees, no appraisal fees, no title fees, no lender fees, and no closing costs. Stewart is your guy. He makes it easy. Any questions on rates, the industry, the trends, give him a call. Here's his cell phone, 314-324-4440. It's his personal cell, 314-324-4440, or you can Google
the bagel loan.
Nicely done, Stewie.
NMLS number 226715.
was noted that Connor McDavid still has yet to win a Stanley Cup championship. Certainly the best player in hockey right now, and one of the best players to ever play the game that didn't win a championship. Oh, by the way, Matthew Tkachuk's dad, Keith Tkachuk, is one of those guys in hockey. You look around sports, though, there's a lot of great players over the years that have never won a championship. Our charge today here, kids, is to determine who the best player is that has never won a championship. Is it Barry Bonds? Is it Ted Williams? Is it Dan Marino? Who are we going with? There's a lot of names out there.
I'm going with Ernie Banks. That's one that probably Bonds would be number one on my list, but I went with Ernie Banks. 512 home runs, 2 MVPs, nearly 2 decades with the Cubs. He never even made it. And what put it over the top for me, he never even made it to a postseason appearance. Never made it to a postseason appearance. So that's what put it over the top for me. Bonds, with all the stuff that's around him, I just kind of stayed away from it, and that's why I went with Ernie Banks.
I think top of my list, of course, is going to be Barry Bonds, but there's so many when you really think about it. I brought up Bernie Federko when we were talking about this yesterday. If you look at his career, especially with the Blues, what he was able to do, he had 100 points, scored 100 points in a season 4 times, and it felt like he was kind of a really underrated performer in a lot of ways when you look at nationally because of, of course, who else was around during that time and what Gretzky was doing. But if you look at Federko's numbers, he has done so much. I think some other names, Ken Griffey Jr., and then, of course, Tennessee Titan great, as we know that he played for the Titans. Randy Moss is another name that's up there. LaDainian Tomlinson. The fact that he didn't even make a Super Bowl appearance is crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. Another one of Bernie's contemporaries with more than 1,700 points. I think he's 6th all-time in NHL scoring is Marcel Dion. He played with Detroit in the 70s when they were not great. Then he played with the Kings well before they won a championship, and then the Rangers before they won a championship. Marcel Dion, 6th all-time in NHL goals, and he never won a championship. And then I think you have to look at Charles Barkley. He's probably, if you're going to go with the NBA guys, he's probably the best. He and Karl Malone, you could flip a coin for the best NBA guys to never win a championship.
I stuck with a lot of baseball on this. Ty Cobb was another one, researching guys that had never won and guys that basically didn't get into postseason play. But Rod Carew, another one.
Oh, yeah.
One of the great players that doesn't probably get talked about enough. One of the great hitters the game has ever seen. How about Bagwell and Biggio? Never won a championship. They were swept out of the World Series in 2005. Yeah, so there's Patrick Ewing, somebody says, Grant Hill. There's a lot that are coming in. But, man, there's a lot of players that had great careers that just never made it.
And, by the way, we mentioned Ted Williams off the top. We could argue that with his time away due to the service, that he's a guy that never won a championship that could be argued is the best.
Yeah. I'm going to go to hockey here for a second. What about Mike Gardner?
Yeah, he's another one.
Pavel Bure.
700 goals, yeah.
There's another one, the Russian Rocket. He was awesome.
Did we mention Tony Gwynn yet?
Tony Gwynn is another. In this era, since I've been watching baseball, if you take the guys that don't have suspicion clouding them, I would think Gwynn would be the guy. I think Barry Bonds, if you just look at the numbers, Barry Bonds might be the best player of all time, let alone the best player to never win a championship. He might just be the best guy, and you can leave off the to never win a championship.
Football, I was thinking Tony Gonzalez, one of the great tight ends that ever played the game. He was so many years with the Chiefs and then finally left and then didn't win that championship. What about Dick Butkus?
Yep.
That's another one that comes to mind, too.
And there may have been a better tackle. Well, no, it probably wasn't. Anthony Munoz. He was great. Dan Dierdorf. It's hard to. Dan Dierdorf was an all-decade performer in the 70s. Was one of the best. If Dan gets drafted by the Steelers or the Raiders, he's not only in the Hall of Fame as he is, but he is a multiple-time Super Bowl champion. So much of this, maybe all of this, has to do with who has you as a player, what team you happen to be on at the time.
If Bruce Smith has 2, do we talk about him as better than Reggie White?
Yeah, probably.
You think so?
Yeah.
They both were so dominant. Man, changed the position in a lot of ways.
Right.
Reggie especially. But, yeah, I think if you win, it does change the resume. Certainly it changes the narrative around that player, too.
Yeah. And I don't think there's any question. When you look at the quarterback position, Marino's the guy. Marino's probably the best thrower of the football, along with Patrick Mahomes, that the sport ever saw. But he changed the game. You talk about guys changing the game. The NFL record for touchdown passes in a season went from something like 31 to Dan Marino breaking it with 48. He was putting up Gretzky-esque type numbers when he came into the league.
I'm going to give you an odd one maybe for some, and for others it'll make a lot of sense, but Denny Hamlin in car racing.
Oh, yeah. That is a good one.
He was always going up against Jimmy Johnson, who won, I think, 7 or 8 NASCAR titles, and Denny Hamlin had 44 career wins and did not get that NASCAR championship.
A lot of great ones. Give me one name. I'm going to give you Bonds.
I was going to say Bonds, but can I give you another? Mike Trout.
Mike Trout's a great one.
Got to go Barry Bonds.
All right. Coming up next, Kyle Gibson, Cardinal right-hander, joins us on the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
Good morning, Kyle. How you doing today?
Hey, if you're feeling down today, if you're a guy and maybe you're a little bit fatigued, maybe you aren't having the level of energy that you used to have, I want you to visit Mentality at lowtusa.com. They have fabulous clinics in both Chesterfield and South County. Go to lowtusa.com and set up your appointment today, because what they'll do is restore that energy level that you had in your 20s and 30s. How can they do it? Well, testosterone is a big part of a guy's energy, and your testosterone naturally decreases over the course of time, and what Mentality will do with an FDA-approved testosterone supplemental treatment is get your testosterone level back to where it was when you were in your 20s. Now, your primary doctor is going to say, oh, your testosterone's in the normal level, but the normal level is very wide. It's a wide range. And at Mentality, they want to get you back to that higher range of testosterone, that higher range of physicality, of mental sharpness. They want you to get back to being the way you used to be. All you need to do is go to lowtusa.com to set up your appointment today and be the guy that you used to be and that you want to be with Mentality. Brooke Grimsley, Danny Mac, Randy Carricker, the opening drive, 101 ESPN, and our friend, Cardinal right-hander Kyle Gibson, joins us now here on a doubleheader day for the Cardinals on 101 ESPN. Good morning, Kyle. How you doing?
Morning, guys. How are y'all doing?
Everything's great. Okay, sometimes pitchers have unusual routines on the day that they pitch. And normally, like when Wayno would do the show, he wouldn't talk to us on a day that he was going to pitch. At what point do you really start locking in for a start mentally?
I don't know. Probably about the time that I'm in the training room about an hour before. I go through we did our hitters meeting yesterday, going over the lineup. So unless they have a lineup change, we probably won't do too much of that today. Maybe a small refresher with Wilson, but and Dusty, but I don't know that we really need it. But I mean, I'm too much of a talker, man. I like to be social. I like to joke around with people. But then when I get on the training table with Adam or CC or whoever it is, and we get started stretching and loosening up, then that's normally kind of when I quiet down a little bit and start thinking and get a little bit more locked in.
Is there anything else that you do to kind of help lock in? I know that some other guys, too, maybe they'll play chess or do a crossword puzzle. Anything else to help you lock in more?
No, I'm normally fairly locked into my reports and kind of what my plan is going out there, and really just kind of quieting the mind a little bit and making sure that when the time comes that I can be as focused as possible.
Okay, Kyle, this is a big one, and it's a point of debate in baseball. Sonny Gray had a perfect game going the other day. How do you feel? I know you guys don't bring up a no-hitter in the dugout. Maybe you do. But there are some players that don't like the idea of the broadcasters bringing up a no-hitter. Where do you fall on that?
I mean, I don't know. I think there's so many things that we can sit here and talk about, speaking it into existence or whatever it might be. But I think a lot of those end up being times of coincidence, right? MLB puts guys on no-hitters watches, in the fifth inning, and they carry it through the eighth. I mean, it's just, sure. I mean, it looks bad, right, when it happens and it gets broken up right away. But, I mean, there's people that'll sit in the stands when you're on the road and they just yell at you from the fourth inning on that you got a no-hitter going, and that's just part of it.
Well, you mentioned part of your routine is chatting with Wilson Contreras, and now Wilson is back. He said that he took it as a challenge when he was given the initial timeline of 10 to 12 weeks for his recovery for his surgery, and obviously now, 6.5 weeks later, he's back. He didn't seem surprised, but were you guys surprised that he recovered so quickly?
Yeah, Wilson won that challenge by a landslide. Everybody was, I think for the most part, everybody was shocked, quite honestly. I know I was, because obviously he worked so hard, and I'm sure he followed the plan and the protocol to a T, just assuming that it could give him any edge to get back as soon as possible. And, man, he looks great. I played catch with him, actually, and threw a bullpen to him right before he went on his rehab stint. And, he looked really good and looked really strong. And, I don't know if he was trying to prove a point, but I think everybody in that locker room knows that when Wilson puts his mind to something, you might as well just get out of his way because he's going to do it.
You mentioned Adam and Chris. That's Chris Conroy and Adam Olson, the trainers of the Cardinals. They do a great job, and they're just great people. I'm curious, on a day like today, how long does it take for you on the training table and some of the things that you have to do to stretch out to get ready for a start with those guys?
Yeah, so I'll jump in the hot tub about 2 hours before game time, a little bit before maybe, and then I'm in the strength and conditioning area for probably about 45 to 50 minutes, just kind of rolling out, stretching, kind of doing stuff before I get to the training room, and then I'm normally in there with Adam about an hour and I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes before the game. It's a nice 20-minute routine I got with him just to make sure that, rotators and everything else that need to be as loose as possible. I did make sure to stay away from any of the stretches that caused my back to lock up 11 days ago. So we just went ahead and stayed away from those. Got up very carefully and tried to avoid any possibility of that same thing happening that happened in Miami.
I know that we've talked to you about Ivan Herrera stepping up in Wilson Contreras' absence while he was recovering from surgery, but we didn't get to ask you about Pedro Pajes. How has he done in taking over in that role?
Yeah, Pedro's been great. He's been really attentive to how he can learn each guy and learn what we're trying to do. You know, he's got a staff here, and Ivan both. They've got a staff here that's probably a little bit more challenging with, you know, Lance, Miles, Sonny, and myself, and now Palante that, you know, have a lot of weapons that use them in specific ways at times. And he did a great job learning that, you know, stepping in really quick and doing an awesome job. But both of those guys, it's just a testament to how much time you have to put in, and they put in the time, you know, and also they need to be able to hit too. So, you know, both of those guys, and as a catcher in general, you've got a lot of workload that you got to add on and to make sure you're prepared. And those guys, you know, including Ivan and Pedro, you know, he's done a great job of getting prepared at the big league level, which, you know, it can be a pretty big step for a new catcher.
Kyle Gibson, Cardinal right-hander, with us on 101 ESPN. He will be pitching for the Redbirds today against Atlanta. You mentioned that you use the hot tub. Have you ever used, or would you use, the cold tub?
Oh, yeah. Cold tub's where you go feel real good.
Kyle, no way. I'm afraid of it, man.
What?
I could never. I can't even do a cold shower. There's no way I could get in the cold tub.
Well, you apparently upset him over the whole cold tub.
There you are. Okay, we lost you there for a second, Kyle.
Can you hear me?
We got you back, yeah.
Can you hear me?
We got you, Kyle.
Okay, all right. No, you did not upset me with a cold tub. The cold tub's where you go to feel good, guys. That's no, the cold tub is normally after leg day, after something where the legs just don't feel quite as good, and you go back and forth between the cold and the hot. It's also really good after a nice sauna session. You know, get the body temperature up to, you know, however high you can get it for 25, 30 minutes, and then jump in there and bring it right back down quick. So a lot of research on cold tub being really good.
So you were advising it for an older gentleman that still wants to stay in reasonably decent shape.
I think I'm being set up for something here, but
this is me. Kyle, no, I'm talking about me, brother.
All right. No, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I don't know that I can do this 5-minute cold plunge that these people do on social media, and they sit there and give you life advice while they're in 40-degree water. I don't think I can do that. But, you know, a couple minutes here and there, going back and forth from hot to cold, I think I can be on board with that.
Okay, cool. I'll try it.
You guys are playing great baseball. Did you sense that this was coming, Kyle, or did you see something in the team? Did you have a turning point? Was there something that you can put your finger on as to when this thing really started to turn around?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I feel like media probably heard it ad nauseum from us, right? I mean, I think we saw it coming. You know, we knew that we had a good team. We knew that we have players that can play really good baseball and get on streaks that can help us win a lot of games. What maybe I can put my finger on? I don't know that there's anything particular I can put my finger on. I think, you know, maybe it's a couple series. I feel like right around the Orioles series, we played, obviously we swept them, and we just played really, really good baseball for all 27 innings. And, you know, I think that gave us a pretty good shot in the arm. Even the series before, probably that whole homestand. You know what? I'll just put my finger on that because we played some good teams. We played Boston, who had the best pitching staff at the time, and we put up a lot of runs. And then we come in against Baltimore, who had a great offense, and we pitched the ball really well. So I think that's probably where it started when we played complete baseball on that homestand.
Kyle, I'm sure that you're aware of this. You just passed 10 years of service time in Major League Baseball. Kind of a two-parter here. What was your goal when you got drafted? What were you hoping that you could accomplish in terms of getting to Major League Baseball? And what's it mean to you to have 10 years of service time now?
Yeah, hope is the key word there. You know, I think everybody gets drafted, and you just know you're going to make it to the big leagues. You know you're going to have this long career, you know, 10, 12, however many years, and you're just going to be everything that you know you're going to be, right? But when I got, to 10 years toward the end of last year and just talking to people, like, there was a lot of times I was hoping to make it through the year I was in, let alone 5 more years down the road, 7 more years down the road. So there was a lot of hope, a lot of like hoping that I would be able to make it through that year, hoping that, I'd be able to take the next step. And, I think there's a lot of times where there was a lot of doubt and a lot of times where, you're just not sure if it's going to work out. So I'm able to look back and really appreciate it, and really be thankful for, some of the forks in the road that, I had to choose which way to go, and some of the adversity that I faced that I believe have, helped shape who I am today and helped shape who I am as a pitcher. And but 10 years was never a goal. It was just something that was out there a long way away, and just different goals outside of that. Being the right teammate, making sure that I'm, following my passions and accomplishing other things that I feel like I've been put here to accomplish.
And one of those passions, obviously, is using your platform for good with Big League Impact. And Sunday night at Adventure Unknown in Fenton, Big League Impact has its Bats and Barrels event with Alec Burleson, who, by the way, looks like he's having an awful lot of fun playing baseball, and Lance Lynn. Should be fun Sunday. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. It's the first time we've done an event like this. Ticket sales will close on Friday, so if you're still interested, go to bigleagueimpact.org and check that out. But it's going to be a really unique event. Like I've said the last couple times, I'm not a big fan of bourbon, but I am a big fan of hanging out with people and raising money for charity and talking to fans and hopefully giving them an insight of what makes each player a little unique and a little different. Adventure Unknown is a really cool space in Fenton that's going to have a really awesome little setup for us to sit in and have nice conversations and try some bourbon if you'd like. But yeah, Sunday is going to be a lot of fun, and nobody better than Lance and Alec to host it. They've got a couple of great personalities, and if you haven't had a chance to sit down and talk with those guys, I would encourage you to sign up and come on out and support a good cause, because Lance and Diamond are doing some great things with their scholarship program over in Illinois, and this event's going to go to supporting that.
That's such a great cause. I had one final question for you, Kyle. Did you pay attention at all to the College World Series? Being a guy that obviously played and pitched at Mizzou, and Mizzou's in the SEC. SEC dominated postseason play. Do you watch it? Do you pay attention to it, or just what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I did pay attention to it. Tony Vitello was my college pitching coach, so rooting for Tony and rooting for those volunteers. I think Tennessee might have been one of the first baseball camps I ever went to as a kid, back when Coach Delmonico was the head coach. So a lot of roots and a lot of ties down there, but I'm so happy for Coach Vitello. He's worked really hard and been a lot of places, and nobody recruits harder. And it was cool seeing some of the after the game interviews, because that's who he is. He's really authentic, and just reminded me a lot of the guys that I pitched for 3 years. And I owe a lot to that staff at Missouri for shaping who I am today as a pitcher. So yeah, definitely excited for Coach Vitello and the Volunteers.
And Kyle, before we let you go, I got the sense that when I said that Alec Burleson's having a lot of fun playing baseball, I think I got the sense that you wanted to say something about the fun that he's having right now.
Man, old Biscuit's out there just finding barrels an awful lot, isn't he? He's so much fun to talk to, because he's just, I don't know, I can't even, that's why you got to show up Sunday, quite honestly. If you guys haven't had a chance to talk to Alex Burleson, just start asking him some questions and let him talk, because he's just afraid that he's going to have to give a speech on Sunday, yet the guy talks so much in the locker room and just wants to be a part of every conversation. Man, he's having so much fun because he's just a great ball player. He just puts the bat on the ball. He plays really hard in the outfield, first base, wherever you put him. And he's a ball player, man. And those guys are really fun to be on the same team as.
Kyle, have a great one today against Atlanta. I'm going to be at the ballpark, so I look forward to two great performances from the Cardinals. Enjoy the doubleheader, and we always appreciate the time.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Take care. Kyle Gibson, Cardinal right-hander, with us on 101 ESPN. Don't forget, it's Bats and Barrels tickets. Ticket sales close on Friday. Go to bigleagueimpact.org, and you can say hi to Lance Lynn and Alec Burleson and have a great time and learn a lot about bourbon.
Burleson is great. When I went the other day to the clubhouse, guess who was right there, ready to talk to the media?
He was?
Alec Burleson, yes.
So once he and Newt Barr are together in the same dugout and playing, how much fun is that going to be for the team?
Yeah, they're going to let it rip and have a little fun and do it with a smile on their face. I'm glad I asked the question about Adam Olsen and Chris Conroy because I don't think that those kind of people get enough attention. They are there. We talk about the players getting there early and then leaving, right after the game. These guys are there. On a doubleheader day, they're going to get there at 8 in the morning and not leave until midnight, 1 o'clock at night. Mark Walsh is another one. The support staff that puts in, I just wanted to point that out. I mean, these guys work tirelessly, and not only are they great at what they do at their jobs, but they got to be really good communicators, too.
And, Dan, we've talked about it a lot, and in Big League Impact, founded by Adam Wainwright. You were doing the game in 2018, right, in San Diego, when not only you and I and pretty much everybody watching, Adam thought his career was over.
Oh, yeah.
And the people that helped bring him back and allowed him to pitch through 2023 were those guys that you mentioned.
I'm so happy I didn't say. I almost said it when he was walking off the mound. There goes one of the great Cardinals in the history of the franchise and what his last appearance as a Cardinal. Little did I know he'd come back and do what he did, but that's a credit to the medical team and what they did to get him back.
5 more years of Wainwright. Coming up, we've got a quick rush hour reset for you here on 101 ESPN. Attention business owners, CEOs, and CFOs, you have a deadline now. Tomorrow is the day for Business Grows Here at the Union Station Hotel in downtown St. Louis. It's brought to you by NetSuite by Oracle, and it's a chance for you to change the trajectory of your business. Spend the day learning from speakers on stage, including Jamie Siminoff. He's the founder of Ring Video Doorbell, and Jamie Siminoff has started his new company right here in St. Louis. Everybody here is going to leave you with strategies and tips that you can immediately apply to your business to get it going up that hill. Take notes and change the way you look at growing your business today. Apply to attend the business event of the year. It's tomorrow. It's NetSuite's Business Grows Here, and it happens at Union Station. It's free to attend if you qualify. Apply today to find out if you do. While seats are still available, go online now to netsuite.com/Missouri. That's NETSUITE, netsuite.com/Missouri, and apply today and see if you can get to Business Grows Here tomorrow.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
Cards and Braves were rained out last night. They'll play 2 today over at the ballpark. Let's play 2. You got a 12:45 in the first game. Then they'll clear out the stadium and bring people back in for the 6:15. If you had tickets for last night's game, you can use those for the day game today. And the Cardinals will also provide you with a voucher for another game during the 2024 season. I would anticipate that it won't be a rather large crowd today at the ballpark for the opener of the doubleheader, but hopefully the Cardinals can get enough in there to give themselves a little home field advantage.
And now you won't face Chris Sale because they're going to use him instead because of the shifting of the schedule. They're going to use him Thursday against the White Sox. So I know Cardinals fans are going to hate to hear that you won't get to see Chris Sale in the series. Another thing to watch for, Nolan Arenado, of course, missing the last 2 games. Now it looks like, I assume he'll be back in the lineup at least in one of the games. Would you put him in both of the games? Because he revealed to reporters yesterday he's been dealing with tendonitis in his left forearm, and it's safe to excuse me. I ate some nuts before we started the segment, and that was a bad idea on my part.
That's a great idea.
I survived. It's okay. But anyways, he's dealing with tendonitis in his left forearm, so I assume that's something that has been bothering him recently. Do you think we'll see him in both games today, and how will they play that?
I guess Ollie's the only one that knows.
He has all the secrets, doesn't he?
He does. Depends on, I guess, how long game 1 takes, how he looks in game 1, if indeed he plays in game 1. I think the interesting part about doubleheaders is that when you don't have a lot of days off, and I think they've got 1 day off until the All-Star break, is if you're Ollie, how you manage the games. I do think you do manage differently. I think that you can keep a starter in or maybe lean on a starter a little bit more in game 1 just because you're trying to save a bullpen. And I think one of the things you're going to find out today, too, is that Giovanni Gallegos, she got 2 games. Let's see what he looks like. Let's see, since he's come back, he has not appeared in a game. That's something to consider. And then as you look for higher leverage situations for other guys, we talk so much about Kittredge, Romero, and the closer Ryan Helsley, but looking for other guys to step up and give you quality innings in a tight game. You're going to have to find out more about that, and they may be thrust into that role here today with 2 games in a very short amount of time.
And it'll be Lopez for the Braves in game 1, and Bryce Elder will pitch to the nightcap. And then for the Cardinals, Kyle Gibson, they still haven't announced officially the game 2 starter, but it's going to be Andre Palante, is it not?
Well, he's the scheduled starter, but it's interesting that they haven't exactly named him because the Cardinals have 1 day off between now and the All-Star break on July 1st, so they really have to kind of navigate this very closely. So what do you guys think that they will do? Do you put Palante out there, or do you kind of worry about the extra day's rest or the rest for some of the other guys and how this really shifts the schedule for everyone?
I think it's got to be Palante.
Yeah, that just makes sense. And I think you can count on innings, even though it's Atlanta. Their offense, by the way, Atlanta's offense has not been great. I think you can count on innings from Kyle today, 6, and then Michaelis tomorrow. So maybe tonight is the night that you count on having to use the bullpen. Hopefully Palante gives you a 6, but if he gives you a 3, and then all of a sudden you have to get 18 outs from your bullpen, maybe those 18 outs are concentrated on tonight.
I want to see Fernandez in more high leverage situations. I thought what he did the other night was impressive, where he walked 2 and Ollie stuck with him, maybe out of necessity, but stuck with him, and he was able to get out of it. And it's things like that you build upon as a young pitcher in a bullpen and have a chance to show what you can do, and they don't just yank you out of the game. And it's something that gives you positive vibes moving forward. So that's something to keep an eye on, is who else can bridge the gap to get to either those 3 or maybe become part of the 4 of a collection of relievers that you can rely upon.
Because this bullpen has been bending, and you don't want it to break, especially the usage of that big 3. Fernandez, that would be a great option if he can handle more of those high leverage situations. That takes a lot more of that pressure off of those guys, the big 3 with Romero and Kittredge.
And eventually they'll get Riley O'Brien back too, and hopefully he'll be a more high leverage guy as well.
What do you think you're going to see out of Gallegos? That to me is really big. And if he's back, he had a shoulder impingement. If it's truly a situation where it was physical, then if he's back to being physically right, he could have a huge role with this team. If not, it could be ugly. And it was ugly earlier this season where he just did not have major league quality stuff that he's accustomed to, and it cost him and cost the Cardinals. So you're probably going to see something out of Gallegos today, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah, you need to know what you have from him at this point and what he's able to do. Is it okay if we go back to Nolan Arenado for one second? Because in the lineup that was put out yesterday, he was back, of course, as we talked about, but he was also hitting 6 in the lineup. And that's the lowest that he's been there since joining, or he's hit since joining the Cardinals. Are you guys surprised by that?
No, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. We didn't think it would happen this soon, but I think at some point you have to do that. And especially with the guy, he said that he had the forearm in his left arm and then his elbow in his right arm. So he's still banged up a little bit.
I think that's why they did it.
Yeah.
More so than lack of production. I think it was more a byproduct of him being injured and banged up, and that's why they moved him down the lineup.
And to your first question, Brooke, does he play in both games? I think that's a decision you make after the first game. If he comes into the office and says, I'm good, you play him in the second game. If not, if he says, I'm Burki, then you set him and you can play Donovan at third or whoever else in the second game.
Makes sense.
By the way, the last time Gio Gallegos had a good month was May of last year. Since then, June of last year, 11 earned run average. And by the way, he pitched in 9 games. He was good in July last year. 12 games with an 0.68. But then after that, a 14.73, and then barely pitched in September of last year. So it's been nearly a year since Gallegos has pitched well as a major leaguer.
And the leash on that, I'm curious about that is, how long can you go if he's ineffective? You got a lot of hope. You're hoping that he's going to get back to where he was, but at some point you do or you don't.
Yep. That's Dan. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up, and that, by the way, was our rush hour reset. Coming up, Matthew Tkachuk is going to have the Stanley Cup for a day. It's going to be pretty cool. What would you do if you had the Stanley Cup for a day? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to share with you something that I wish I knew about a while ago, and that is Golden Oak Lending. Listen, I know a lot of us have been there before, even maybe right now, dealing with credit card debt and maybe even student loans. I know that I've been there before, but the people over there at Golden Oak Lending, they're there to help you out. While credit card payments have been at an all-time high and mortgage rates have gone through the roof, there is good news. Mortgage rates have started to come down. Golden Oak Lending has mortgage rates at 5.375% fixed, with customers saving on average $1,114 a month. Golden Oak just makes it so easy. So easy, in fact, that all you have to do is just call in. And I did that. I called in, I spoke with Jason, who made the phone call just super quick and professional. He educated us on our current loan on our house and really what to look for in the future. Finance has really never been my thing. I really never felt comfortable talking about it, but Jason just made it so easy, and he really made sure to educate and guide me to the best solution for my needs. And that's what they do there at Golden Oak Lending. Personalized service that makes you feel heard and really addresses your needs and stress surrounding finances. So call today at 314-567-GOLD now to get started, or go online to goldenoaklending.com and see all of the reviews for yourself. 5.934% APR, FHA, 15-year fix with 20% equity and qualified credit. Additional terms apply. MLS number 114937.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals baseball just about 3 hours away, as they have a doubleheader today following yesterday's rainout. 12:45 day game, then a 6:15 night game. Kyle Gibson will start the day game today. You can actually go back to our Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's interviews and listen to in our podcast and listen to the Kyle Gibson interview with the opening drive earlier today. Also, some big news in the NBA yesterday, as the Knicks are going for it as they ship out a bunch of draft picks for Brooklyn Nets star Mikal Bridges. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Years, many people had the great good fortune to get their photo taken with the Stanley Cup, or to touch or to kiss the Stanley Cup, which is something that sports fans should want to do. It's the greatest trophy in sports, and it's something that you want to spend a little time with, especially if you're a big hockey fan. Matthew Tkachuk is going to bring it home here to St. Louis. Of course, the Stanley Cup spent a ton of time in St. Louis during the summer of 19, and I'm sure that Matthew will bring it home, and he'll take it to where he really was formed as a hockey player. I'll be interested to see. I got to tell you guys, I so enjoyed the time spent with the Cup that if I had it for a day, I would want as many people as possible to be able to spend time with it. So I would rent out a place where I could just, and maybe even at the ballpark or Enterprise Center, where you could spend hours having people lined up just to go get a photo with it. I think everybody that's a fan of a team should, when the cup is won, they should have their moment with the cup.
I really like that idea. And then with Chaminade, you know he's going to take it by there. So maybe that would be an opportunity for him where he opens it up somewhat to the public. I know it could get a little bit crazy. You would, of course, have to have some people helping you security-wise to keep things in place so everybody's not trying to come in all at once. But I think that's a really, really good idea. I personally would do family first and then open it up to the public. Having a small event with those who really helped, because you know, it takes an army behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You have your parents who are, of course, taking you to practices, watch all of your games growing up. Grandparents are typically involved as well. Cousins, aunts, uncles, all that stuff. The people who are really a part of helping you get to that point where you're able to win the cup, I would have a moment with them first where I would celebrate.
And Matthew and Brady worked out here, crash over at, I think it's Elite Performance, and that crew, they really helped those two. So I would think that they'll get an opportunity, and they have already had that opportunity to be with the cup. But then the coaches and the like you say, Brooke, the behind-the-scenes people that helped him get to where he got the other night.
Yeah, your support system, your family, your friends. I'm with Brooke. I think I initially started there. All right, I got kind of a unique one, though.
Okay.
All right, I would take it to, I'm a South City guy.
Mm-hmm.
I would take it to Francis Park. And for $5, I would charge you to come in and have your picture taken with the cup. Now, your $5 would also include Ted Drew's ice cream and Emo's pizza.
Oh, there we go.
The $5, though, would go to the Special Education Foundation, which is that's where my passion is. And we've raised over $5 million for my golf tournament, so I'd just have a good start on that. And I'd say, okay, $5, Emo's, Ted Drew's, it's a donation to... And you'd have to pay the $5, not just, showing up. You got to pay your $5, and then you get your picture taken with the cup. That's what I would do.
It's a great idea. Our buddy Mike Caruso put up a post on social media when Steiner was named as the next general manager and wrote about how the cup was at Petro's house, and Steiner said, I need the cup for a day. So Mike drives over to Petro's house to pick up the cup and drives it over. This was right after the Blues had won it. And he's got a picture of himself with the cup in the back seat and stuff. Pretty cool. It's amazing, though, to think about that we mentioned yesterday that Mike Keenan literally left the cup in the passenger seat with a seatbelt on of his convertible near his home in New York, and he walked into the post office with the cup as his passenger in his convertible.
That is so cool. Now, food-wise, you brought up Ted Drew's and, of course, Emo's Pizza, which, of course, you have to do that. But what else? Because I was thinking about that last night. A lot of players, they do ice cream, cereal out of the cup, anything special that you would do. I think that would have my dad's. I've brought up my dad's sukiyaki a million times on here. I would have him do the sukiyaki in there. Maybe even kind of a back home thing for me, fried pickles.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, anything fried in Tennessee is a huge hit. So fried pickles would be another one.
Yeah, I think the frozen custard aspect of it, the Ted Drew's aspect, just to have Ted Drew's make a massive concrete in it, that'd be great. There used to be a place called Johnny's Ice Creamery here that had a thing called the Matterhorn. It was 15 scoops of ice cream, and if you could eat the entire Matterhorn, you got a second one free. And
I like that.
I nailed 14 scoops, and then the coffee ice cream showed up. And I don't buy coffee very well, so I would have blown through 15 if it wouldn't have been coffee.
Did you really do
vanilla.
14 scoops?
Oh, yeah, it was a breeze. It was no problem at all.
How many do you think you could pound? Could you double that?
Back in the day, I could have probably done 20 back in the day.
Yeah,
not now, but I would like to have like a Matterhorn type setup where you just put a massive sundae in the Stanley Cup.
I have an honest question, and I don't know the answer to that. They get 24 hours with the cup, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's it. I wouldn't sleep. Once it hit 12:59 or whatever, I'd take it all the way up, and then if the guy says you got 24 hours, I would start right then and there.
I agree.
We're going to utilize all 24 hours.
Yep. Yeah. Make sure that you get everything out of your day with the cup that you can possibly get,
and just take it everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It would just be awesome. Chaminade has got to be able to coordinate having the championship trophies and those guys together. You cannot buy better advertising than what Chaminade has a chance to do.
And if you're the leagues, I would think that you want to have the synergy between the two trophies being together.
Oh, that'd
and
be
obviously,
huge.
if you're our community, if you're the St. Louis community, you want to have that. I can't figure out how anybody would not want that to happen.
Is there a trophy in sports that means more or even close? Like Bryson DeChambeau taking the U.S. Open trophy everywhere.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
he took it everywhere. But you don't see it in the NBA. You don't see it with that hunk of metal that the Major League Baseball has.
Or Lombardi, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't think there is. I think the closest thing would be the Heisman Trophy, because everybody knows when they see the Heisman Trophy exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But there's only, and the Lombardi's easy because it's got the football on top. But to me, the Stanley Cup, number one, anybody who watches all the sports knows that it's the hardest one to win. So what you have to do to get it is extraordinary. But then just what it is, just the size, the shape, everything about it.
The history, the names on it.
Right.
That's
it's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
The hardest one to win, and like you guys talked about, the fact that you have 24 hours with it and everybody knows, you get to see the celebrations and when they take it home, that's what makes it even more special. It's just that the players who sacrifice so much, their bodies to get to that point, to win that cup, the fact they get to spend time with it, I think makes it even more special. From the 314, does anybody else find it funny when the Stanley Cup is presented? It's presented by two dudes with white gloves, and all we can talk about is throwing ice cream and fried pickles in it. I love it. They are so careful with it. And then if you watched yesterday, did you guys see the videos of Matthew Tkachuk with the cup yesterday?
Yeah.
I mean, they were everywhere. Big Walt with him, of course, too. And he took it into the ocean. I mean, they're so gentle with it leading up to it. And then afterwards, it's like, how does that thing survive?
That's cool. And by the way, you know what? A guy I didn't realize, he'd been around forever, I didn't realize I liked him as much as I do, is Paul Maurice, the coach of the...
He's great.
He's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad that he got one after all this time coaching in the NHL.
Was it 34 years?
24 years.
24 years.
30 years as a coach, 24 as a head coach in the league.
There's another guy that I was very happy for. His name is Jamie Compound. He's an assistant for the Florida Panthers.
Is it 3 or 4 now for him? I think it's 3.
I thought it might have been 4. I could be wrong because I'm going back and forth. I think he got one with the Kings.
2 with Chicago?
2 with Chicago, and now 1 with the Panthers. And he was a longtime video coach behind the scenes, and you talk about a guy that worked. Holy smokes. This is back in the day before the editing is like it is today.
Yeah.
The editing would take forever. Literally, he'd be up until 4 in the morning and then back at practice by 8 or 9 o'clock the next day.
And he was with Maurice in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And Paul Maurice liked him so much that he brought him down to Miami with him. Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, the Cardinal lineup is out for the opener of the doubleheader, and we're going to play the lineup game next on 101 ESPN. What a fabulous day yesterday at the South County Y as the new Paul Goldschmidt Field was dedicated. It's a product of the Gateway Region YMCA along with Cardinals Care and the Boniface Foundation. And this new Paul Goldschmidt Field includes a Miracle League baseball field, an inclusive playground, and a multi-purpose field so kids and adults with disabilities can play sports. And the Y is so thrilled to be partnering with the Cardinals and Paul Goldschmidt. But the Y still needs help because they're in the fundraising phase of Paul Goldschmidt Field, and it's not too late to become a founding donor and leave a lasting legacy. That's right. The Y has launched its community fundraising phase, and while every gift is very important and every gift counts, there's some really amazing recognition opportunities, signage, and your ability to be on plaques at Paul Goldschmidt Field, and they start at just $500 for you or your business. Consider making sports available for all so that children with disabilities can play ball and experience the joys of being on a team. Visit GWRYMCA.org. That's Gateway Region, GWRYMCA.org. All right, the Cardinal lineup is out. I got to get my piece of paper and a pen because we're going to play the lineup game as the Cardinals get ready to take on Reynaldo Lopez and the Atlanta Braves at 12:45.
Is it? Oh, sorry, I interrupted. No, you go ahead.
I can have my mic on. I don't even know you interrupted. Go ahead, Brooke.
Okay. Thank you, Rockio. Can we just go ahead and get the first two out of the way? Because I think it would be pretty easy here.
Let's
1-2 punch that we've been talking about, Win and Burley.
So you're going to face Reynaldo Lopez in game one, and really no difference between his splits. He's just been awesome on both sides. Right-handers, lefties, doesn't matter. He's been tough on both.
All right, so guessing the first one, Brooke, like Brooke said, you guys are going to guess for the first position. You guys are consensus on the leadoff spot for the Cardinals today?
Mason Wynn.
Yeah.
All right, and it's going to be...
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here
I
today?
got the wrong thing here. Hold on.
No,
that's not it either. Hold on. I am such an idiot. Okay, hold on.
There it is! Mason Wynn leading off. There it is. Mason Wynn leading off for the Cardinals.
Maybe that's why we need to take that away from you, Randy.
I just was not completely
Can we redo
prepared.
this segment?
Is he a shortstop?
He's got to be at short.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, who are we going for the second spot for the Cardinals today?
Burley?
Burley.
Yep.
How big is he? Big man, that's for sure. Hey, man, come on, look at the size of this fella.
Burley in the 2-hole for your St. Louis Cardinals today.
Biscuit Burley bombs.
I'm going to go with Nolan Gorman here. Again.
I don't like back-to-back lefties.
I don't either, but they've been doing it lately.
Yeah. I'm going to stay away from that.
You going to go Goldie?
No, where are you going to put Contreras?
Oh, there you go. He hit third the other night. Okay, I can go with Contreras. That's fine.
All right.
Batting third for the St. Louis Cardinals.
You wanted the animal, Colonel. You got it.
Wilson Contreras. That's a clip from Wolverine, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, see,
There
Brooke
you
liked
go.
that one. So
Yes.
Wilson Contreras is batting third for the Cardinals.
Okay, so are we going Gorman or Goldie here?
Goldie.
Goldie.
Okay, Goldie it is.
Batting cleanup for your St. Louis Cardinals.
I love gold.
Okay, good. I like it. Good.
You're doing great with the sounds.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm
this
being
is
serious.
my third hitter in a row that I brought up Gorman.
Oh, so you're saying.
Is it Arenado?
No, I'm going Gorman.
Gorman
And
plays.
maybe Arenado sits game 1 and then plays in game 2.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Is it Gorman? It's not Gorman?
It's not Gorman batting fifth.
So is it Arenado?
It's got to be Arenado.
But he was down in the lineup yesterday. You don't think it'll be the same story today?
Well, that he'd be hitting 6th.
A day of recovery.
Yeah.
Batting fifth for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Donnie.
Ooh, that makes sense.
Oh, that's right. This is 5th.
Yes.
Okay,
we haven't
so-
gotten. Yeah, we're
This is
just
fifth. You guys are going with Donovan?
Yeah.
All right. Way to go, Donnie.
Brendan Donovan batting fifth for the Cardinals.
Okay, now.
So we have Wynn, Burleson, Contreras, Goldie, Donovan.
Yep.
Win,
now
Donovan,
Donovan
Goldie,
Arenado.
Donovan. Yes.
Donovan in left.
Yep.
So are we going
early and right.
Arenado at third?
Yep.
Yes. That's what it
And
was.
batting sixth for your St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh my God! It's a tornado!
Nolan Arenado batting sixth for the St. Louis Cardinals.
So there you've got your infield taken care of. Presuming. Well, you still don't have Gorman in the lineup.
So he's got to be in there. Lefty against the righty. He's got to be in there.
Got to be in there. Yeah.
This has got to be Gorman at second base.
I would think
Batting seventh for your St. Louis Cardinals. Do it yourself, big man. Nolan Gorman batting seventh for the Cardinals.
My goodness.
Yeah, sorry. I had that I had that in there, and I was like, I'm going to use it.
All right.
Okay, so Ciani's going to play center field and hit ninth. So let's think.
Missing a DH.
Yeah.
You got Wynn at short, Burleson in right, Contreras catching, Goldie at first, Donovan in left, Arenado at third, Gorman at second, Ciani in center field. So you're missing a DH.
Herrera's not back.
No, he's not.
You're not going to put Fermin. Fermin's on the bench, right? You're not going to put him there.
Oh, you know what you could do, though? You could DH Gorman and play Fermin at second. If you wanted to.
Would you, though?
Carlson's not going to DH, is he? Maybe you play Carlson in right? And Donovan or Burley DH?
Where's Carpenter?
There you go. That's a good call. Marp is your DH. Hitting eighth, Marp.
Hitting eighth for the Cardinals. Sick. Is in fact Matt Carpenter.
There we go. Okay. And then Ciani hitting ninth.
Yeah, I don't have one for him. There you go. Michael Ciani is, in fact, hitting ninth for your Cardinals. Your Cardinals lineup today. Mason Wynn leading off, playing shortstop. Alec Burleson in right field, batting second. Wilson Contreras batting third behind the plate today. Goldie's your cleanup hitter at the first base spot. Brendan Donovan batting fifth. Playing left field, Nolan Arenado at the hot corner, batting sixth. Nolan Gorman is batting seventh. He's at the second base. Marp is DH batting eighth. And, of course, Ciani in center field, batting ninth. There's your Cardinals lineup for a 12:45 first pitch.
Here's something I was thinking about. What about doing a bullpen game tonight because you get the extra arm? And so then you can keep everybody, basically get them an extra day's rest. And so that's something to consider. You only have one off day going into July. But that would make some sense maybe that's why they have not announced Palante and say, okay, we can push him back and do a bullpen game tonight in game 2 because of the extra arm that you get from AAA.
Well, this is just coming in, Dan. It seems like you might be onto something here. So John Denton has Matthew Liberatore is scheduled to start game 2 tonight per Ollie Marmol.
There you go.
Libby. Okay, good call.
All right.
Dan, we know you have an appointment, and we know that you need to get out of here as we will handle this 10 o'clock hour until 11. We're going to have a little balloon party. What do you think of that?
I love it. So you guys will run the balloon party. We still have Rocc and Roll.
We do have Rocc and Roll coming down the stretch here.
Yeah. You got Rock's Hill to Die on, too.
I know it's going to be fun.
I like that one.
We pushed it back a little bit, too. We are giving away Rolling Stones tickets here in the next segment as well.
Oh, nice.
Or during Rock and Roll, I should say, which I guess we're doing
Oh,
next
no, well, that
segment.
makes sense for Rock and Roll.
Fantastic. Good.
Yeah.
Daniel, we will see you tomorrow morning.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's going to be a fun appointment, as I told you about.
Oh, yeah.
Love that prison game.
They better bring flowers.
Yeah.
I better bring flowers. All right.
you,
You could have at least taken me to dinner.
Read into that as you will. All right.
Thank you, Daniel.
But everybody, you know what? Get your prostate checked.
Yeah.
Do the right thing.
Yeah, right.
If you're a man, do the right thing.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Don't worry about if you're a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Just get your prostate checked.
Coming up, more government money for NFL teams yesterday. Has this gotten out of hand? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are trying to engage customers, the best way to do it now is through your website and, most importantly, through social media. And that's why you need 2060 Digital. It's our sister company backed by a 100-year-old media empire in Hubbard, just like 101 ESPN. And today's fast-paced world of digital marketing, you can get the expertise that you need from 2060 Digital. They'll provide you with construction of the perfect website for your company, and they know how to handle social media. When to post, what sorts of things to post. There is a science to it, and 2060 Digital has that science down. And they have a great analytics department that's going to tell you exactly, quantifiably, how well it's working. The other thing they know at 2060 Digital is algorithms and how you can have your company show up on the front page of a search engine. That's so important these days when you're trying to get people to know where your business is. You want to be on that first page when you do the search. You can learn all about it at 2060 Digital. Go to 101ESPN.com/2060 Digital to request your complimentary digital audit today. 10:05 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Time for a balloon party. No T-Mac and Ajax today. I think Tim's on vacation somewhere. What's new?
Where is he at?
I don't know.
I want Tim's schedule.
So do I. It's pretty good.
Golfing, I assume.
I would think so. Now he does.
You have to do 4 hours of radio.
He does do 4 hours of
We're just
radio. This is
kidding.
grueling. Nobody's ever done 4 hours of radio a day. And literally does 4 hours of radio. I mean, Matthew, if I'm not wrong, he does a show from 7 to 10 on the HD channel and shows up at 7 o'clock. Does he not?
You're
6:55?
You're giving him a lot of credit. He shows up. The show starts at 7:07. He shows up at 7:07.
Okay, good for him. He's got it going.
That show starts at 7:07 every day, and Tim McKernan, 7:07.
Well, we get in like an hour early, Randy, right?
Well, I get in 2 hours early. So for our 7 o'clock start, I'm here at 5 every morning.
You're actually opening the whole building up.
Try turn on lights. Tim
does the Costas.
Open doors. Yeah. So here in St. Louis, we don't have an NFL team. And the fact of the matter is, we could have spent $700 million to upgrade the Dome, and it would have extended the lease, and the Rams would be heading into the last year of their lease in 2024, and then they would leave after this year. Stan Kroenke had no interest in being in St. Louis. There are owners who really do like their communities and want to keep their teams in their communities. Yesterday, Brooke, governments in Charlotte and Jacksonville voted to give the Panthers $800 million for renovations to Bank of America Stadium, and the Jaguars are getting $1.4 billion from the city of Jacksonville so that they can build a new stadium. They're going to actually tear down Everbank Field and build a stadium that is comparable to SoFi Stadium. This, in addition to Buffalo providing $1.7 billion for the Bills. And a lot of that money, by the way, was taken out of New York's education budget. Nashville is spending $2.1 billion on keeping the Titans in town, and the Bears want $3.2 billion so that they can build a new stadium in downtown Chicago. It was one thing. $700 million. I think you can make a case. $750 million, which is what the Raiders got in Vegas, where they make a lot of money off of taxes from tourists. Mm-hmm. I kind of think, I'm not going to ask you and put words in your mouth. I'll let you respond on your own. I think this has gotten out of hand. It's one thing to spend. St. Louis, I think, spent $300 million back in 1995 on building the Dome. When we're getting into the $1.7 billion, the $2.1 billion, the $3.2 billion, those are major highways that you're foregoing so that you can build a stadium to be used 10 times a year, 9 times a year by an NFL franchise.
Or what about for schools, money for public education? I think that's another big important factor there. Looking at, of course, speaking of experience with what's going on in Nashville currently, it's estimated it's going to cost $2 billion for Nissan Stadium. Now, they're trying to say, I've seen all the renderings. It looks fantastic. It kind of looks like an Xbox with trees on top of it because they're going to have like a giant rooftop because it's Nashville, of course. And they're going to add kind of elements of gambling. But there's also a lot of articles and experts out there who are kind of questioning if even Nashville will be able to kind of recoup some of the money. So $2 billion, as I mentioned, is the estimation of how much it's going to cost for Nissan Stadium, with half of it coming from taxpayers. But here's the thing, is what the NFL has done is they've made it so great for the owners where they know that, okay, if the city doesn't want to play ball because of look at what happened here, St. Louis is an example. There's many other cities who are examples as well. If you don't play ball with us, we will move. And that's the threat that all the cities know. So you have to do what they want. You have to be able to play ball with the owners here in this situation and pay a big portion of the bill for the stadium, or else we'll move.
And even a smaller market like Jacksonville, I can't imagine that Jacksonville is going to make money by spending as much money, $1.4 billion on a new stadium, as they're going to spend. Jacksonville... we are the number 21 TV market at the moment. You have to scroll down. I think Jacksonville is still in the 50s. Now it's growing. It's the number 47 market. The population of Jacksonville is not tremendous. So they're going to have to, and by the way, Fortune 500 companies in a market that isn't as big. I wonder how this is a good business plan for any of these communities. And I really think it'd be different, by the way, if it's for a baseball stadium. If you're using it 81 dates a year, and St. Louis didn't build a baseball stadium for the Cardinals either. If you're using it for 81 dates a year, that's different than 10 dates a year. Granted, Nashville, Chicago, they're going to use their stadiums for other things. Is Jacksonville going to be able to draw a Final Four? I doubt it. Are they going to be able to draw another Super Bowl? I doubt it. So I wonder how economically this makes sense for those communities.
No, and I mean, especially some of the other cities too, the bigger ones that you listed. Nashville, I don't believe technically is bigger than St. Louis yet. Population. Is it?
It is, no. Number 29 market. St. Louis 21, Nashville 29.
Yeah. So Nashville isn't even there yet, but it is a tourist destination, as we know. And if there's people who are concerned that even if Nashville is going to be able to recoup the money that they're spending when it comes to billions for a new stadium, I think that says a lot about it. But the way that things are going now with the NFL is that they have really navigated towards the owners. I mean, think about the Panthers. All the issues that are going on with David Tepper and how, of course, we saw that video of how he lashed out at a local business because they kind of put a little funny sign out. It wasn't even that bad what they had on the sign. What was it that I can't remember specifically, but it was
let football people hire the next coach or something like that.
Really? You're going to let like a restaurant sign really anger you that much, and then in turn you go and ask all the citizens for money and for help in that situation? Of course, the Panthers are getting it, but at the same time, it's just kind of, if you're an NFL owner, that has to be the ideal. If you're an owner of the NFL team, you have it made. Because the NFL makes it that way.
Right. And the notable thing now is that the NFL used to be able to use L.A. as leverage. They could say, okay, well, we'll move to L.A. We'll build a stadium in L.A. I think most owners now, I don't know if cities know, but most owners know that St. Louis is not going to be used as leverage. So if you don't have St. Louis as leverage, who are you using? What other city are you saying, okay, well, somebody else is willing to build us a stadium? Is it going to be Portland? I don't know if Portland is viable. What is the next American NFL city? Now, we just said Nashville's 29, Jacksonville's 47. All it takes is one smaller city to say, like, how about the 33rd ranked Salt Lake City? To say, okay, we'll build a stadium there. They've got no problems building a new arena for the Arizona Coyotes. So maybe that's what cities are worried about in terms of losing their NFL team. But you're 100% right. The NFL is such a gargantuan steamroller now. Everybody is afraid of losing one of the 32 franchises.
And the owners are so protected. So that's the other part of it. I mean, look at how long it took Dan Snyder to get out. It took forever.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there was so much evidence against him.
Yeah, the value of the franchises is incredible. Here's a note for you. Birmingham, Alabama is a bigger market than Jacksonville. By the way, Vegas is 42, but Vegas has all that money. Norfolk, Virginia, Norfolk, Norfolk, Virginia is a bigger market than Jacksonville. Albuquerque is a bigger market than Jacksonville. Oklahoma City is a bigger market than Jacksonville. So there are markets there that could build stadiums, and I guess owners could use as leverage if somebody's reluctant to build them a stadium. But I'm not seeing any reluctance at all. That's the thing. There is no pushback. It's $800 million, it's $1.4 billion, it's $1.7 billion, it's $2.1 billion. There is no pushback on the part of the people who are representing the taxpayers.
This is just kind of a theory on my part. I don't really have any evidence to back this up, but the NFL is also really good at a PR spin and putting little bits of information out there to kind of do a veiled threat. You know that, Randy. They're really good at doing that. Remember when there was all those rumors about maybe they would move the Jags out of Jacksonville? They would potentially look at them being one of the teams that they moved to London. Why do you think that was?
Yeah, they wanted Jacksonville to act. There's no doubt about it, and they were able to get it. So it's I'm all for a reasonable amount of spending tax dollars for sports facilities. My point here is that I just think it's gotten out of hand with the billions of dollars that could be spent on other things that people that aren't sports fans are using their tax dollars for.
My issue, too, is the veiled threats that they kind of use of, okay, if you don't do this, then there's this potential of a remove. There's other cities who would love to have us. I don't like that because then you're forcing the people to that situation.
Yep. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. It is the Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got Rolling Stones tickets to give away. How about that? Rolling Stones are coming to the Hackney Diamonds Tour is coming to Thunder Ridge Nature Arena in Ridgedale, Missouri on July 21st. We've got tickets for you next on 101 ESPN. Matthew and Randy, it is the Balloon Party here on 101 ESPN. However, the opening drive has tickets. So the opening drive team doing the Balloon Party is going to give you tickets to the Rolling Stones. That's right. The legendary Stones are bringing their last North American show of their 24 Hackney Diamonds tour to the Thunder Ridge Nature Arena in Ridgedale, Missouri on July 21st. And we have your opportunity to win free tickets to the Rolling Stones. That's right. You can find all the info and a bonus chance to register to win tickets to the Rolling Stones at 101ESPN.com or on the 101 mobile app. But right now, you can text in, and Matthew has an incredible question for you. And if you answer the question by texting in 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO, then you can win the tickets to the Stones. Okay, Matthew, what is the question?
Well, we had a whole thing about retired numbers and who's the player in the NFL who's had his number retired by multiple teams. Well, I went through the numbers again, and I found out that the most retired number in NFL history has been retired by 6 different franchises. What jersey number is it? There's been a bunch that have been retired 4 and 5 different times by different franchises, but there's only one number that has been retired 6 different times. What jersey number is it?
The Cowboys don't retire jerseys.
Also, just like last time, if you guess multiple numbers, you're out.
Okay. And let's do, hold on, I'm going to give you a texter number.
Swear to God.
Hold on.
Texter number 92.
Oh, no.
So we're going to go with, we're going to do a little, okay, let's go with texter number 80 in honor of the age of Mick Jagger. For every year that Mick Jagger has been alive, we'll do a texter. So 80 is our texter number.
What did we say was the median age for the Rolling Stones? Because it was a little bit...
69.
There's no way, though.
Shocking.
The drummer died, and they have a new drummer.
Oh,
was
well,
Charlie
does he
Watts
count?
the drummer that died? No, who was the drummer that died?
90% sure the drummer from Rolling Stones died.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too.
Yeah, no, he did. Wasn't it the drummer?
Let's see.
So that brings down the average age by a bunch.
Okay.
Because
yeah.
Keith Richards is also
died
80.
2021, yeah.
Yes.
And he was the drummer of the Rolling Stones. So, yes, Charlie Watts.
And Ronnie Wood is 13 years younger than Mick Jagger and Keith Richards in the first place. So they're all in their late 70s, but Ronnie Wood is in his middle 60s, and they have a new drummer who's also not in his 80s. So, therefore, that's why it's 2 guys who are 80, 2 guys who are low 60s, therefore 69 average.
Oh,
the
Mick
Flash.
Jagger's about to be 81.
Yep, exactly.
Flash apparently official. Charlie Watts dead at the age of 80. He died on August 24th, 2021.
I was like, wait, what the hell is happening right now? I was like, who's Charlie Watts? I don't know how to react to this. I just want to say gun down in his prime.
Hey,
you can go that.
Hey, we didn't say that we're first here. We're second alert weather. We're also second, third, fourth when it comes to information.
Especially about
it's
the
not
Stones.
Breaking. We'll get it to you eventually.
Yeah. It's broken. It's not breaking. It's already broken.
Yeah.
So second alert. Second alert 101.
There we go. We'll tell you the We'll tell you the answer here as we head towards the end of the segment. As we get to the end of the segment, I just wanted to bring up the thing that I've mentioned a couple times in the Sports Interrupt that we haven't really been able to jump into today, and that was the huge trade that happened in the nation in the Big Apple, and that was, of course, the Brooklyn Nets moving Mikal Bridges over to the New York Knicks for a bevy of draft picks. There's also some stuff going on here with. The Nets also, in addition to trading Bridges to the Knicks, they also did a trade with the Houston Rockets to get back a bunch of their first-round picks that they gave up. Now, in addition to that, there's a lot of talk going on. Apparently, there's conversations going on where the Rockets are now trying to make the Suns whole from their version of the Kevin Durant trade by giving them back a bunch of their first-round picks that they traded to get Durant, and the other name being thrown out is Alperen Şengün to get Durant to the Rockets. Devin Booker's also apparently a secondary option if they can't get Durant. But I don't want to talk about any of that stuff. That's just the news. I want to talk about how cool it is what the Knicks just did. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, both were freaking out on Twitter as the news went final. Jalen Brunson tweeting out, "Oh my God." Josh Hart tweeting out, "It's bleeping lit." And then at one point, Josh Hart tweeted out a picture of a 4-way video call, and all 4 players, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Mikal Bridges were on a video call together. Cool. We've only ever seen college champions play together in the NBA. The only thing I can think of is Phi Slamma Jamma, where you had multiple guys because the Michigan guys never got together and they never won a championship. So to get college champions together, and not only that, a special team like Villanova where these guys played together for multiple years. Obviously, on the 16 team. Ryan Arcidiacono was a huge player. He's obviously not one of the four. DiVincenzo was not as big of a player on that team. He was a much bigger player on the 2018 team. But nonetheless, all four players on the same championship team. You don't get this kind of camaraderie and college feel in pro basketball. The Thunder kind of created that when they were first around, and they had young Durant, young Harden, and young Westbrook. But this is a real thing, and I love what the Knicks are doing. I think this is great for basketball.
And they're going to be really good. They should be, theoretically, because of the talent of the players, really good. Most college teams, if you take four players off of a college team, most times you are not going to have four good NBA players.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I was trying to think of college championship teams that had more than like 2 or 3 good NBA players, and the list is very, very short. And so then to actually get them all on the same team when they're all in their prime, or all their primes happening to happen, at 28 to 31, it's unbelievable that they've done this. I usually hate everything the Knicks do, and I'm so ready to make fun of James Dolan for everything he's ever done in his life. This is a win. This is a win.
Part of the irony here is that the Knicks, I'm sure, planned on getting Barrett and Reddish and Zion together, right? They had both Reddish and Barrett. They were going to get 3 off of the Duke team, and then Zion winds up not being a part of it. So they just pivot from getting the Duke guys together to the Villanova guys together.
I didn't even think about that. You're right, though. Also, the other 2 Duke guys not really being
that great,
very useful players, definitely hurt them. You brought up in the break when I mentioned this that the Knicks are going to need a center. That's probably true. I think the funniest undercurrent of this is that Mikal Bridges has never missed a game in his career since high school. And Tom Thibodeau is now his head coach. I feel kind of bad for Mikal Bridges' knees and joints and everything about him, because Tom Thibodeau runs players into the absolute ground. No coach makes his players grind in basketball the way that Thibodeau does. Bridges is going to be playing 46 minutes a game when they need him to.
I was talking to some coaches about Dan Hurley a couple of weeks ago when he turned down the Lakers job and said, I thought that he'd take it. They said, no, because you know what? He'll get that Knicks job when it opens up in a couple of years, because inevitably Thibodeau will lose the job. Now, doesn't that Knicks job fit Jay Wright better than Dan Hurley?
He's got his team.
Seems like it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So
Did you say it was? I mean, that was a pretty steep price for Bridges, right? I mean,
he's a good player.
He's four or 5 first rounders.
5.
It was 5. It was
4 unprotected and 1 protected.
4 unprotected first rounders in 25, 27, 29, and 31. A protected first round pick swap in 25. An unprotected unprotected 25 first. Excuse me. An unprotected 2028 pick swap, and then a 2025 second rounder. It's a lot, but you have to realize, Mikal Bridges is, I can never get to my computer and talk at the same time. Bridges is 27, I want to say. He was 23. He was 22 when he got drafted. So he's 27. So, when you have a 27-year-old player who, when he goes from being second fiddle or even third fiddle in Phoenix to Brooklyn, he opens up with a string of 30-point games. He's 6'7" with a 7'2" or 7'4" wingspan. I'm blanking on which one it is. He can guard 1 through 4, and if you're facing a team that still does an undersized 5, he can usually guard that undersized 5 as well. So that kind of versatility defensively, combined with scoring, combined with the big thing that happened when he went to Brooklyn, is that not only was he being a more scorer, they were putting the ball in his hand and telling him, run the offense, run the pick and roll, find your shot. And that's what took him from a 22-point player to a 30-point player on some nights. So you don't get a lot of guys who at that age can defend, find their own shot, and shoot. That's 5 tool stuff right there if we're comparing it to baseball.
And the Nets are clueless. I could do a better, and I'm not an NBA guy, and I could do a better job of running the Nets than they do, because they've got other good players. What do they do now with Claxton? What do they do now with Cam Johnson? They've got talented guys. They wasted the opportunity because they got Kevin Durant for nothing, and then they got Johnson and Bridges for him from Phoenix, and that could be the centerpiece of a pretty good team. But they just have no idea what they have or what they're doing, and they can't figure out their coaching situation. That Brooklyn Nets situation is a debacle. So it is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what you do with Claxton, what you do with Cam Johnson, what you just did, you trade them for first-round picks.
Yeah, right. So
by the way, they have an ungodly amount of picks right now. They have 6 first-round picks in the next 3 drafts. They have 15 first-rounders between now and 2031. 15 first-rounders? I mean, they looked at what they built there in the Thunder and said, that's cute. We'll re-up that a little bit.
Yeah. So
insane.
But you still have to draft good players. That's one of the things you run into.
Tricky part there is anytime that picks outside of the top 7, 8, 13, it becomes pretty much a crap shot.
Right. Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, it is the balloon party, and we've got Rocc's Hill to Die On. He's over it. Next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals about 2 hours away from starting their first game of a split doubleheader. 12:45 first pitch, 6:15 first pitch for the second game. It'll be Kyle Gibson on the bump for the Cardinals in game one. And in game two, the Cardinals announced earlier Matthew Liberatore gets the start for the Cardinals. Also yesterday, there was some NBA news. You didn't hear us talking about it last break. Mikal Bridges traded from the Nets to the Knicks to join his other Villanova teammates. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
That is a take. It's a strong take. It's one of the best takes ever.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
That's my opinion!
Well, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion.
Before we get to Rock's Hill to Die On, a lot of former Ram Ligier du Zabel fans in the YouTube text line today. If you're watching on the Air Alliance team studio cam and you're in the old chat, I'm surprised. I just didn't realize that there were as many Ligier du Zabel fans out there as there appear to be.
Care to expand on that?
Yeah, he had the number that they like.
By the way, the answer to our trivia question was 12. It has been retired by 6 franchises, although there is a little asterisk here. Jim Kelly, Bob Greasy, Tom Brady, Joe Namath, John Brody of the 49ers, and then the fans in Seattle.
The 12s. And no Terry Bradshaw on that list.
Which is shocking.
Or no Scott Covington for the St. Louis Rams.
Let's take a look at what the Steelers list is really quickly.
75?
The Steelers list is 75, 70, and 32.
Wow, Franco
That's
Harris?
it. Franco Harris, Joe Green, and 70?
I don't remember.
Ernie Stautner. From 50 to 63.
Oh, a former Cowboys defensive coordinator, too.
Yep.
Okay.
Those are the only 3 by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay. Rock, what's your hill to die on today?
All right, so...
Apparently not shaming people for specific conversations.
Yeah, don't shame people. Let people live their lives. It's for 10 to 11 a.m. is a kink shame free zone. That's like we don't kink shame from 10 to 11 a.m. It's a fact on this show in this hour during the balloon party. We don't do it, Brooke. So I won't stand here and let it happen.
Full Game of Thrones shaming moment there.
No,
that's what I'm doing towards the YouTube chat right now.
I'm an American who loves freedom, and so I don't take any freedom away from people. In fact, I love freedom so much. This is what my hill to die on is going to be. By the way, I'm nervous about this one because my traffic hill to die ons usually go really, really bad.
No, they're not bad.
My traffic ones usually do not get any love. So here's my thing. All right, so I just want to preface this.
Okay.
I'm not saying don't be safe. Please be safe. Yeah. Do not drive like a fool. Not saying that I want people to drive over the speed limit. I'm just saying this very simply. If I'm in a parking lot or I'm on a road and that road has speed bumps, I should be able to drive over that speed bump doing the speed limit without damaging my car. No. The speed bump should be there. Hold on a moment. The speed bump should be there to make sure people are driving the speed limit. If I go onto a parking lot that says the speed limit for this parking lot is 15 miles per hour, 10 miles per hour, but I need to not bump my car on the back or front end, I need to slow it down to 6 miles per hour to go over said speed bump. The speed bump is doing too much. Or if I'm driving down a residential road and the speed limit for that road is 25, and they've placed these speed bumps to make sure people in these residential roads where kids are playing do not go faster than 25. And I'm supportive of that rule. I love that rule. I grew up on those streets, so I drive 25. So why do I have to slow down to 15 to go over the speed bump?
Here's the thing. We have a big problem in downtown St. Louis on Washington with drag racing. Speed bumps on Washington would prevent said drag racing if people are allowed to go as fast as they do. If speed bumps aren't going to have a dramatic effect on speeding, then why have them?
Because I'm trying to figure this out.
If you go faster than the speed limit, your car should get messed up if you go over a speed bump. My point is, though, if you go over the speed bump at the speed limit, there should be no issue. And my point is that most speed bumps, you have to slow down much more drastic than the speed limit to go over the speed bump without bumping your front or back end as you go over the speed bump or hurting your tires or depends what kind of speed bump it is. There's the bigger, more drastic ones. There's the smaller ones that you have in parking lots. I simply just think speed bumps should be built to stop you from going over the speed bump and maintaining a nice, steady speed. It should not be there to slow everyone down to an absolute crawl.
Well,
I'm not saying get rid of speed bumps. what part about the speed bump I want isn't slowing people down?
But is there such a speed bump that you speak of that
Yes,
allows
every
you?
speed bump they've put in down in South St. Louis, in the residential neighborhoods where the speed limit is 25. Again, I've lived on those streets. I drive 25 on those streets because I was a kid who almost got hit by a car multiple times on my residential street growing up because people would drive 40 down to 25. My point is that if I'm driving 25, which apparently we've all agreed is a speed that if you are attentive at the wheel is a safe speed to be traveling on those roads. That's what we've agreed. That's what the speed limit means, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Then why you raise the speed bumps, again, to stop people from going 40. To say if you're going to go 40, your car is going to get messed up. You're going to pay for damages. So I'm just saying that makes sense. Why not build a speed bump that when I go over it at 25...
doesn't mess up your car.
It doesn't mess up my car, and I can continue driving simply at 25 down the road without any repercussions or having to slow down. That's all I'm saying.
I wonder if there's any speed bump science that can cause you.
I wonder.
Yeah, to be able. Now, another thing I've thought of, as an example, on Washington, is why not just replace the roads with? And I know the city has financial problems, but cobblestone. Just make it out of bricks. If you don't want people drag racing, make it out of bricks, like down on the landing.
They'll still try.
You can't. Well, they'll try, but it'll go. Drag racing will not be nearly as much fun, and it'll mess up their vehicles. That's what you want to do is mess up somebody who's trying to drag race on a bad.
Their vehicles.
Mess up their vehicle if they're trying to drag race on the street.
You know what I don't like is those round concrete balls, or just the concrete
in the city?
blocks that they put that, but. Yeah, in the city they have the balls, and then they also have the concrete blocks.
Oh yeah, those.
I hate those.
Oh, those make sense.
I know,
those
but
those ballards, like that stuff. That stuff makes sense because they've been proven that the way they built the street was not intelligent. Like they built the street to the point where like they build streets like 50 years ago that have blind spots and things like that, and you just can't. Like those things are necessary in my opinion. I can't believe I'm getting the text messages that people are just like, why don't you care about safety? It's like you can't preface enough like you can't qualify your statement enough for people to not just like take the littlest things out and be like, why don't you care about safety? Somebody goes, then it wouldn't be a speed bump, it would just be a bump in the road, which would defeat its purpose. Again, is the purpose to make me go 10 miles below the speed limit, or is the purpose to punish people who go above the speed limit and stop them from going above the speed limit? Like, that isn't the purpose of the speed bump to stop people who drive above the speed limit. Am I incorrect here?
No,
that's the purpose of the speed bump. So if I'm driving the speed limit on a road with speed bumps, why do I have to slow down? I know people are like, well, it's not a big inconvenience. I'm aware of that. That's why it's a hill to die on, because this isn't a big thing. But my point is that can you logically look me in the face and be like, it's illogical to think that you should be able to drive over a speed bump doing close to or the speed limit. I don't think that's a very illogical statement.
This is from the 636, and I tend to agree. This is a completely reasonable hill to die on.
Oh.
So you need to be a little bit more spectacular with your...
I don't know. I don't think I've ever thought about it that much.
Next time, Rocc is going to tell us he doesn't think that we should have to watch out for motorcycles. What about my statement, and I've slowed down for you because apparently you need me to. What about my statement makes you think I do not care about safety?
As you said, you were one of the kids that was in the roads in South St. Louis, right?
Yes.
You benefited from that safety.
Burn down my street going 45 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. There are now speed bumps on the street my parents live and I grew up on. I'm not saying there shouldn't be speed bumps. I'm saying, why do I have to go with a speed limit that's 50? I have to slow down to about 12 to get over these speed bumps without my car bumping out. Because they're very wide speed bumps. They're not very high. They're very wide. So to not bump my front end, I have to go down to like 12 or 10 miles per hour. I just think that's an excessive amount to ask people to slow down or just change the speed limit. Somebody's like, would you be happier if the speed limit of the parking lot was 5? Yes, I would. I would be much happier because we've now all agreed to the logic of this situation, which is 5 is the safe speed limit. If you tell me the speed limit's 10, I'm gonna drive 10 because you've agreed that's the safe speed limit.
I don't think I've agreed to anything. I've never thought about it this much. I agree with the through and for what they say here. I think it's to try to keep you more aware, more than control the speed, because typically you see them in school zones. So I think that somebody says, why does Rocc hate street kickball? Yeah, you got to watch out for the kids, Rocc. It's just to make you aware of the kids. Because what I'm taking away from this is that Rocchio wants to speed through school zones. Aren't you, Randy?
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's 60, 70, 80 miles an hour.
That's what I
Nothing
heard.
I love more than speeding through school zones and putting kids' lives in danger. That's what I live for.
That's my
everybody.
takeaway from this.
Yeah.
Brian in Illinois, Rocchio, the reason why the speed bumps requires you to slow down below the speed limit is because too many idiots ignore speed limits, and the bumps makes it even more required to slow down. Again, the bump is punishing the idiots. Like, the bump is successfully punishing people who go too fast. So why are you then... So, like, that part's being done. Like, people have to slow down or their car is getting messed up. So people are slowing down who are driving too fast. My point is why inconvenience and punish people who are simply driving the speed limit, which is a legal thing to do and not unreasonable. Like, that's a reasonable thing to do, is just drive the speed limit.
Yeah, fair enough. That is Rock's Hill to Die On here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we're going to head down the stretch with this edition of the Balloon Party here on 101 ESPN. Now, Jackson Burkett is Little Piddles, is he not?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so we can't have any Little Piddles material or frivolity here. So we'll have Rocc and Roll, the Rock Party here on 101 ESPN next.
Some of these YouTubes.
Hey, did you know you can hang out with Jamie Rivers and Stella Artois tomorrow from 6 to 8 at Cyberg's in Maryland Heights? Stella Artois partnering with Hot Ones to bring hot wings and hot trivia questions to St. Louis. If you want to compete in trivia, visit Cyberg's now to find out how to sign up to participate in the competition. Or just come hang out and watch the festivities tomorrow and enjoy some free Stella samplings and your chance at attendance prizes. That's tomorrow from 6 to 8 with Jamie Rivers at Cyberg's in Maryland Heights. Get more info at 101ESPN.com. And don't forget tonight, the NBA draft here on 101 ESPN. The coverage starts at 6 o'clock. Let's see if Bronny James goes tonight in the first round.
No.
He's the biggest name. He's the biggest name in the draft.
I'm going to say it would be actually short term, it would be bad for the NBA if he went in the first round because they have nothing to talk about for the second round tomorrow. They have nothing to talk about. There are so few good storylines. There are so few like senior college players who are going to still get drafted in like the second round because they played all 4 years in colleges and teams hate that. There's so few of those stories. They'll find them. But I guarantee you, if you're working ESPN's draft day coverage, all you're hoping for is that Bronny will last the day too, so you have something to do for the it's not even just the pick that happens the day of. The pregame before round 2 starts, they need Bronny to be available.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if you're, I don't know if LeBron has spoken about this recently. I know that he talked about wanting to play with Bronny, and so you wonder with a lot of these teams, are they going to draft him just because then you were able to get LeBron? Do you think LeBron would be fine with not playing with him, but having him in the league?
I don't know. It seems...
I don't know if there's been a follow-up with that.
It seems like the history was always that was their dream to be able to play together. And I think the date for LeBron to either opt in or out on his new contract with the Lakers is the 29th, which is today's the 26th. So later in the week. So the draft will have occurred by the time LeBron can opt in or opt out. So maybe he's just waiting to see what the Lakers do.
Yeah. I don't know. I just find it really interesting because I know that they've been big about that, but maybe he'd be fine with, if he just makes the league, that's a huge deal, an accomplishment within himself.
It would be, for somebody with that apparent skill set and the skills that are refined at this point, I think it would be a huge deal for Bronny to make the league. Probably, yeah, my guess is that there will probably be somebody that isn't drafted in the next 2 days. If LeBron James' son is, there will be a person who you say, if you just have a blind taste test and you put their numbers next to each other, you say, how did player A, Bronny James, get drafted over player B who has better stats? Mm-hmm. My guess is that that's going to happen.
Terrence Shannon Jr.?
I think it'll happen too. It's crazy just how little fanfare there is around this draft. It's insane.
Yeah, well, yeah, really. Other than him, I feel like a lot of people talking about him.
Last year, at least you had Wemby, right? But college basketball's down, and the top players are pretty.
Have you heard the name of the guy who's probably going to go number 1?
No. That's why I said
it's another freshman. Yeah, his last name's Sarr, Sarr.
Oh, good for him.
So and again, it might not be him. There's some other people that I'd be shocked if it wasn't him. But it's disappointing that it's such a down year in the draft. Yeah. 2025 is supposed to be amazing. By the way, that's why that Knicks Nets trade was so centered around an unprotected 25 first round pick. Because apparently that one's supposed to be just unbelievable. Cooper Flagg is the name that people are already saying he's going to hit college basketball. He will be the number 1 overall pick, one and done.
I'm betting that the Knicks don't get the first pick in the draft, though.
I don't think so, no. Do you really think Jay Wright's going to ever leave broadcasting to come back to basketball?
I don't know, but why not?
It just feels, because like the way when you leave that early, it's either one of two things. Either the Dick Vermeil thing happens and you go, I thought I was done, but I'm not. Or you just got every little bit of it out of your system and you need new challenges. And so winning 2 championships makes you think, well, I got to do new things that challenge me.
Well, especially with the NBA. If
Yeah.
he can go to the NBA with his guys, might be something that's attractive to him. And there's nothing like winning in New York. It's been a long time since the Knicks have won a title. So maybe that's a draw as well. I don't know what he wants in terms of a challenge. He'd probably make more in a year than he made in his college coaching career. Maybe 2 years. He'd probably get $20 million a year.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, because coaches in the NBA are getting paid. Yeah. So hold on a second. Coaches in the NBA are getting paid $18 million a year. Belichick was the highest paid coach in the NFL the last few years.
Like 13 or something.
McVay or something like 13 or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like it's a better investment on the NFL coach.
Oh, yeah. the NBA is far from a coach's league, right? It's a players' league. And the best coaches in the NBA, especially now, are products of the players that they have and their ability to have a relationship with the players. We know what Phil Jackson was, but Phil Jackson was part of coaching, managing, is being able to get great players to play together and keep them going in the same direction. Phil Jackson was able to do that. Popovich never really had to do that because his best guy, Tim Duncan, was willing to accept a lesser role, and he played without ego. But if you're a LeBron coach, you're playing with somebody with a tremendous ego that can get you fired.
That's the thing now that it's turned into, is it's just, can you manage the star player on the team? I mean, outside of LeBron James, we talk about him a lot. Look at Kevin Durant. He's on his 5th coach now since leaving the Golden State Warriors.
Yep, at least Kenny Atkinson, Steve Nash, Vogel, Budenholzer, and Monty Williams, yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go, 5.
So that's the biggest thing, is can you manage the star?
Right.
And keep them happy. Not even manage. Yeah. Probably you have to be careful with that. It's just, can you keep them happy?
And maybe that's why we're seeing Durant's name come up in trade talks, because maybe Budenholzer is saying, hey, he's gotten enough guys. He's not getting me.
And just speaking of NBA coaching, me and you were talking about this yesterday, Randy, after the show. The J.J. Redick thing's kind of crazy to me, because I feel like if you're not in this like perfect pocket, you're going to get criticized. Like if you're a college coach coming up to the NBA, people are going to say, well, you're a college coach, your style's not going to work. If you sit on an NBA bench for like 15 years and then get the job, everyone's going to say, well, why didn't you get the job 6 years into your NBA coaching career? Why did it take till year 15 and you were the 3rd choice for a team? And then if you come with no experience, as well, you have no coaching experience. And I feel like the only window is you get to be a 4-year assistant and then a head coach. That's the only one that people apparently are okay with.
Or be a broadcaster, right?
No, because everyone's coming after JJ.
Well, but Steve Nash, now granted, he had been a general manager in the NBA, but he came out of TV and wound up doing a pretty good job.
Ooh. If J.J. Redick had...
Steve Nash, I'm sorry, it's Steve Kerr.
Oh, yes. No, but to your point, if J.J. Redick had 3 rings in his playing career, would it be different?
Yeah.
The fact that Kerr came from knew how to win with the Bulls.
Yep.
I have to think people changed the way they interpreted the Kerr move because of that.
Right. I agree with that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That is our producer, audio video engineer, Matthew Rocchio, of 2 shows today. First of all, the opening drive, and then the balloon party. Brooke, did you have fun today?
I did.
It was fun. Both shows?
Yes, both shows. I learned a lot, of course, as I always do every single day, including towards the end here, that Rocchio likes to speed around school zones. That was my big takeaway.
See,
honestly, my big takeaway from
can't be
the
doing
day.
this hills of down if we're just going to slander me every time we do it. Stop it. No,
he doesn't like
it's not true. I will drop
fruit,
you. I will turn your mic off. I have the power.
What kind of psychopath is that? What kind of psychopath is that?
You screamed a psychopath.
Dan will be back with us tomorrow morning. He had to go play the prison game, and you have T-Mac and Ajax back tomorrow, too, with a real balloon party. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., have a wonderful hump day, St. Louis.